All right.
Okay, so
We're
being 6:30 on Wednesday, April 16th, and having quorum, I'll call the Bridgewater Planning Board to order. Um, I'll just read we have new language here. So this meeting is being held remotely in accordance with the provisions of the open meeting law. An extension of hybrid and remote meeting provisions signed into law by the governor. This provision is now available through June 30th, 2027. And allows public bodies and town meetings to continue offering remote and hybrid access for public meetings. The following members of the Bridgewater Planning Board are participating remotely this evening. I'm Patrick Driscoll, the chair, Mr. Michael McDonald, the vice chair, Mr. Stephen Geller, Ms. MJ Spagone, and Mr. Eric Costa. So Ms. Spagone and Mr. Costa are typically alternate members, but this evening they'll be serving as regular members. During this meeting, all votes will be taken as roll calls. The following Bridgewater Town staff will also be participating remotely. Mr. Robert Rulli, the Community Economic Development Director, Mr. Shane O'Brien, the Town Planner, Mr. Greg Tansey, the Town Engineer, and Mr. Stephen Solari, the Building Commissioner. At this point, everyone's mics are muted. The board's mics will be unmuted through the whole meeting, and as items appear on the agenda, the project's representatives' mics will be unmuted. If this is a public hearing and allows for public comment, we ask that you use the chat feature to ask your question by listing your name, your address, and your question. The chair or the host this evening is Mr. O'Brien, who will recognize questions in order. You can also use the raise my hand feature in the participant menu, and you'll be unmuted when the chair or the host recognizes you. Again, please state your name and address before asking a question. If you're on the phone, you can dial *9 to raise your virtual hand. Okay, so item 2, do we have the CED staff with us yet, Mr. O'Brien?
I do not see Mr. Chase, nor do I see Dr. Perry.
Is there a third on that committee?
There is not. There was a third member, but that counselor did resign.
Okay. Well, we can open it, and then if we have to continue it or cancel it, we can do that.
Sure, we can do what we did last time. We can talk about it and then they can figure it out.
Dr. Perry did confirm with me tonight earlier that he knew we were meeting together first and separately second. So,
Sure.
but I'll open it anyway. Do we have a meeting notice? I didn't see that in the packet. Do we have to read that in?
I can pull it together. Let me
But did we advertise it or no?
Deb Ward typically advertises. Oh, Mary, you're the third member of the CD committee?
Yes, I'm the third member. I
didn't know they reorganized that. Okay.
Right. All right, Shane, let me just open it up with what we have then. That's fine.
Absolutely.
All right, so item 2, I'll open the joint public hearing with the Community Economic Development Committee. This is a zoning map amendment. This refers to zoning ordinance DFY 25-018, zoning map amendment for Winter Street, Flag Street, and Flagstone Place. This is an amendment pursuant to a zoning map change, rezoning from Business B to Residential C, RC. This is a joint hearing that will end at 7 p.m. and the CED committee will be holding the rest of the meeting via Zoom on their agenda, while the planning board will continue and remain on the Zoom ID. So I have opened that public hearing with the Community Economic Development Committee, and why don't we just give them a few minutes to join us. We just need one more, Mary, correct?
Yeah. The problem is, I had a problem myself because there's 3 meetings posted, and this is the only one that has a Zoom address.
Correct. And it was advertised as such. So let me I can pull up the legal ad for you, Pat.
Yeah, I'll read that then. So
sure.
Just while we're sitting here.
Ready.
You want to blow that up, Shannon? I can do that. Hold right. I got it.
Okay.
So I have opened the public hearing. I'll read the legal notice. Notice of public hearing, zoning map amendment, Bridgewater Planning Board. Pursuant to MGL Chapter 48, Section 5, notice is hereby given the Bridgewater Planning Board and CED Committee will be holding a joint public hearing on Wednesday, April 16th, 2025 via Zoom. The link is attached. To receive public input on a proposed zoning map and ordinance amendment DFY 25-018 zoning map amendment, Business B and Residence C districts in the Bedford Street, Winter Street, and Flag Street area. The proposed zoning ordinance map amendment is on file at the town clerk's office and the Community Economic Development Office at 66 Central Square, Bridgewater, Mass. 02324. And to view online, which is a link, please contact the Community Economic Development Office at 508-697-0950 for any questions. This was posted by the Bridgewater Planning Board. This ran in the Brockton Enterprise on April 2nd and April 9th. So, Mary, we're good to go once your committee joins us.
Yep, I think Dr. Perry is here.
Okay. Who is, and it's Mr. Chase, is that
Hello.
correct? So Dr. Perry, just to give you a heads up, so we opened our planning board meeting.
Okay.
We opened the joint meeting on the planning board side for the CED meeting, and we read the public hearing notice in.
Okay.
So I believe you just need to open.
So we'll just need to open up our meeting to go along with you. So I'll go ahead and officially call our CED committee to order in conjunction with the planning board meeting. Have you guys done public comment yet?
We basically do that throughout the whole meeting at different.
All right,
hearings.
gotcha.
It's a public hearing, so we'll listen. I guess the way we typically do our public hearings is we have the presentation. In this case, I think it'll be Mr. O'Brien. Then we'll open up for staff board comments, and then we open it up for public comments. That's how we typically do it. But
Okay.
if you want to change that, we can do whatever.
Nope. Works for me, my friend.
You have quorum, so do you want to move forward now?
Yeah, I'm good.
And you opened your meeting, so I'll turn
Yes,
it
I
over.
did.
Do you want to run the meeting, or do you want me to?
You got it.
So Mr. O'Brien, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure thing. Let me just get my screen saved. So this was actually introduced by Councilor Chase, who is on the CED committee. Let me just pull this up. So it would be a zoning map amendment. I know we haven't had one of these in a while, but this would be specific to rezoning a portion of the Business B area on Bedford Street, Winter Street, and Flag Street, as well as Flagstone, and to rezone to a residential C. So to provide a kind of a quick history lesson, and I know that Mr. Silva is on the line as well, but there was a discussion through the planning board process in terms of rezoning a portion of a subdivision approved for Winter Street that was currently Business B. We approved that plan, permitting that the fourth lot be totally built within the residential C area, as clearly residential is not allowed in the Business B district, as well as we don't allow for use variances. So that conversation kind of continued post that subdivision being approved. And the way that I kind of looked at it from kind of more of the locus in the area and kind of throughout my time in town is that I noticed that the left side of Flagstone, as well as a large portion of properties along the Winter Street area, were contained in this Business B area. So it looked like at some point when the Business B area was created, it looks like in town we took about, I would say, maybe 1,000, 1,200 feet along Bedford Street and just kind of incorporated it into that area, which is fine. But kind of looking at it from more of a, a specific standpoint to some property owners that live in this area, as well as the idea of businesses being placed in these areas, it just became less logical and less logical. So rather than have a spot zoned, which we cannot do, zoning map amendment, I decided that we should probably look at incorporating a lot of these residential properties back into a residential C area, which they probably were at some point. So that's pretty much it from that standpoint. There's a wide selection of properties that would be, are residential uses right now and would be zoned to a residential C area, which would allow for them to kind of properly follow the residential uses there. I think I did note in my memo that there is one property that we could look to include. This is lot 17 on Winter Street, which is a residential use. So that would be something that I would recommend to be included as part of that. But really, it's taking a bunch of residential uses that are in the business B and placing them back into a residential zone. So that's pretty much the gist of it.
Dan, could you put that map back up, please?
Sure.
I'm sorry. And it just to clarify, it's not like we're taking anybody's commercial rights away. That those, I believe, just about all those lots that you've referenced, except for
Winter Street, the Winter Street subdivision lot is vacant.
so they're
So
all.
the,
I mean, everything else is already developed with a home on it, I believe. Correct.
correct. There was discussions at one point of incorporating a property that was a vacant into the residential area, but that didn't really kind of go anywhere. As well as interest in some of these lots to be the vacant lots to be utilized as business. So yeah, it's just primarily taking properties that do exist already and kind of keeping them with residential uses, which would primarily be helpful to them when they're looking for, additions and other items that may require, a variance action if anything else was, expected from them for any work being done. So
And I think Mr. Silva can chime in if he wants to, but Mr. Silva, wasn't that third lot on Winter Street? Didn't you do that? And what didn't that need a use variance to become a residential lot anyway? So I think what Shane is proposing is fixes a lot of problems. Could you answer that, Mr. Silva? You're muted.
you're muted. I know Rebecca's not here to help.
I can unmute myself, Shane.
I know.
As far as if you could bring that back up, I can explain to you that we tried to look at them, the properties along this stretch, looked at the current uses and to see what made sense. Because the whole idea of a business zone was to take advantage of Bedford Street for the most part, as far as being fronting on that main road. But what we looked at was well, what properties are currently business or planned to be business, and which ones were at risk because they are business, but they're really residential in character, and you could end up having somebody come in and change one to a business use and really kind of be disruptive to this residential area. So it made sense after going through this that these were the properties that fit best using that criteria and basically using a finer pen as opposed to the broad brush certain distance off of Bedford Street for a zone line. And that's how it was originally created. Back in the day, it was probably not as big an issue, but as things got built out, it makes much more sense to do it this way.
Shane, could you identify the lot that you think we should add? Is that right there? Okay. And I believe there is a single family residence on that property to begin with anyway, right? Shane, you're muted.
Yeah, that would be just part of the recommendation.
Okay.
I believe that's a garage on that one, I believe.
I think 17, there's a house on it. Adjacent to it is a property, I think, with a garage. There's one property that they're owned by the same people, but they're closer to the business B, so we just kind of kept those ones out of it.
I think the garage is on the lot with the T in it, Mr. Silva.
Okay.
So you have the Getty still, the gas station, then you have the Cape, then you have the garage, then you have a single family house, I think.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that maybe modify it to include that other parcel. It would still make a lot of sense that way there. That would be fine.
Sure. I think the point is that not every residential property in this area that's in the business B is going to be part of this. But I would say that I think that incorporating a portion of the residential C along the properties on Winter Street and Flag Street as well as Flagstone Place. These ones kind of made the most sense.
Yeah.
Mr. Brian, what's going on with lot number 1 up in the top, center top there? The one that's left out of the
Which
big
one?
wedge. I believe it's
This-
lot number 1. Yep. Is that
I think
already a
it's
business
8
property?
Yeah, that's lot 81. I believe that was owned by Oliari, and they're primarily utilizing that as a business. Let me pull up what I have on my other screen. I don't think I included that as part of my picture. But I can,
Well, I don't think that lot 81 was part of the subdivision either, right?
no, I don't believe so.
No.
So that, Michael, is out of that subdivision anyway.
Yeah, no, I was just curious what the carve out there was for. Obviously, I'm assuming it's already used for some kind of business purpose.
That is correct. I think it's owned by the same adjacent property owner.
Okay, no issues for me there.
Any other planning board questions for Mr. O'Brien?
Yeah, Shane, just one more question. What about lot 42?
Sure thing. Let me pull it
That's the
back
one
up.
all the way down to the bottom. It seems like the last one that is facing Flag Street.
That one is vacant, and they're trying to actively market it as commercial. It's on MLS.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
we divided that property, oh, I don't know, it was 10, 15 years ago. And the property to the right, which is being shown to be in this residential one, was for a house that he built for his daughter. And then he retained the other piece, which was for a business use that he has been actively marketing there for quite a while.
And there's actually some sort of a landscape / logging something going on there. It was.
Is it really? The only reason I think that one makes sense to keep in there is that if somebody does come in, acquires, say, those corner properties, and wants to do something which is, a reasonable site development, they could turn that into a bigger rectangle right there and have a little bit more to work with. I think it would make it difficult for future business uses on the smaller parcels that are in front of it. Not to say that they'll ever be joined together, but it does leave an opportunity for what would be a reasonable business use in that area.
Yeah, that's
Potential
fine.
business.
I just didn't know if there was a house on that one or not.
No, that's a vacant lot, always been marketed as a business lot.
Yeah, no, that did come by in terms of a potential location for infill, but no, that like you said, it was one of the few that we looked at that was vacant, that the applicant didn't have any interest in terms of wanting to utilize from a residential standpoint, which is fine by them.
Board members from the planning board, obviously Dr. Perry and your committee, ask whatever questions you'd like.
I'm pretty clear with the only one, that large lot that's on Bedford Street that's got a little back corner of it included in the extension of the residential. What lot is that one?
Let me pull it up.
19? I can't, my map is blurred here.
Let me just find it on here. I think that rear parcel is owned by M&I Bedford Properties. And then,
Can you bring that back up, Shane?
sure. Oh, that's the, that was that back parcel that we talked about, at the, 0 Bedford Street, property. So that was utilized as the green space and the swale. When we did the, I think it was Grady Consultant did the work on that one.
Yeah, so we don't want to touch that because that's part of a commercial project we just approved.
Well, no, not only that, it may be, it may become part of a commercial project, which is on the other side. It's more of an area that's there for drainage and so forth.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so I just didn't know if that should be shaded or not for if that's mostly a commercial property there.
Yeah, I would say it's commercial.
Now, we just approved two commercial bays that utilize that site for drainage for their commercial properties. And as Mr. Silva said, there's talk of other businesses looking to expand in that area that may even further upgrade that drainage there. So
Okay, just want to make sure it was,
it'll probably be nothing but a drainage lot going forward anyway.
Yeah, I would think so.
okay.
I have one question, Mr. Chair. Is it okay if I ask the question?
Yeah, go ahead, Mary.
So the piece of property that's half shaded in and half white, right on the line where it says residence and business. It's a big chunk, half of it's
Yeah, can you
white.
bring that back up for Council McGrath, please?
Sure thing.
Thanks, Shane. So the one that's right here on the top, it's half white and half shaded in.
This one?
Yeah, is that gonna become all one lot? Or is it
Oh,
all?
no, it's a subdivision. And then there's already been an approval for 4 houses on there. So I
Okay.
believe the intent is that we saw a building box for that property where that building box was solely in the residential C area. Whereas it would allow the applicant not to have more properties, but without a modification of the board, but to locate the property with a little more well, it's still upland, but there was
It's most of
elevation
the
issue.
most of that is
I think the easiest way to answer the question is the piece on the right and the piece on the left, Mr. McGrath, are now going to be the same. So right now they're different. That's why they're shown.
Right.
They're going to become the same.
They're all
So
going to
it's
become residential, and most of that upper section of that one you're talking about is mostly wetlands.
What's showing right now is the division. We're trying to remove the division, so it's all one.
Okay, so it'll be for houses.
It's already, whatever's going to be developed there is already permitted.
Okay.
It's just going to, this change, how it will affect that, it's going to only affect on that subdivision, maybe the positioning of one house. The house would be in one location versus another location. That's all.
Okay,
that.
thank you. I'm good.
Board members, either committee? So Dr. Perry, do you want to open up for public comment?
Sure, yeah, as far as CED is concerned, is anyone online has any concerns or questions? Is there someone checking people asking for questions?
Oh, no, so we'll go to public comment. So Dr. Perry, you're all set with your, we can come back, but your
Yeah,
board.
I've got no further questions, and I think Mary's set. And do we not have Fred here tonight?
No, Fred's here.
Oh, Fred's here. Fred, any questions? Okay, you're muted, Fred, but I see you're shaking your head, so.
Thank you. All right, so at this point, we'll open up for public comment. If there's anybody on that would like to speak about this zoning ordinance or has questions on it, feel free to ask.
Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street.
So go ahead, Mrs. Hanson.
Sorry, I can't find the raise your hand thing
No.
again.
That's how we started out bad last time.
I just, to clarify, this area, it protects the area from businesses to have a chance of, having a house and then next door, all of a sudden a business that when you went in there, there was residential, but then all of a sudden somebody wants to do a business. It protects that area. Am I understanding that correctly?
So I would say to that, it would protect those who currently live there as well as some of the people that live nearby that, if there was ever a situation where someone would demo a property, they couldn't put a commercial use to replace something that's primarily residential. So a lot of these areas are already primarily a residential. They do abut businesses. But I would say that it's more protection for those who already currently live there and having the understanding of where they kind of live in proximity to a business B district.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. Thank you.
Any other public question or comments? And if you're having trouble, raising your hand, feel free to speak.
I don't see anyone in the chat, nor do I see any virtual hands raised. So,
All right, so I'll send it back to you guys, Dr. Perry.
Again, no further questions, from myself. Anyone else on, CED have any questions or comments? Mary's good. Fred, you're good?
I'm good.
Okay. So yeah, we're ready to act on it if you guys are.
All right, planning board, final questions, comments, concerns?
Nothing for me. It's a good initiative.
Okay, so we can close our public hearing. So Dr. Perry, do you want to close yours?
That's fine. I'll do the same. Time is now 6:58. 6:58.
Okay, so you don't do a roll call vote, all right, that's all right. So,
Yeah, no, we don't have to do a roll call.
all right, so do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved.
Mr. McDonald, do we have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Geller. Any discussion? So I'll take the roll, Ms. Pagan. Ms. Pagan,
you're muted.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Costa,
Yes.
Ms. Pagan.
No.
You're a yes. Are you a yes, Mrs. Pagan? And I'm a yes. Okay. All right, so the public hearing is closed. So just discussion now on this. So just Mr. O'Brien, if we were to make a favorable motion, you think we should include what parcel?
It'd be lot 17, 290 Winter Street. So it wasn't incorporated in the original map amendment, but I think it should be included as part of this.
Okay, is there any planning board discussion on the proposed zoning amendment?
I just agree with Mr. O'Brien's inclusion of the extra lot, so I think we should go ahead with that for the recommendation.
Okay. So Dr. Perry, I'm just gonna get our motion and recommendation, and then I'll turn it over to you if that's okay.
Perfect for me.
All right. So if there's no other discussion, do we have a motion? Motion to
I'll make a
approve.
motion to approve, set plan with the addition of lot 17, 290 Winter Street.
The motion with amendment by Mr. Geller. Do we have a
I'll
second?
Second.
Mr. McDonald? I would agree. Mr. McDonald seconded it.
Yep.
All right, so, I would agree. I think Shane did a great job with this, and I think we should incorporate lot 17. If there's no other discussion, I'll take the roll. So, motion by Mr. Geller, second by Mr. McDonald. I'll take the roll call. Ms. Pagan?
Doesn't seem.
Mr. Geller?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Ms. Pagan?
Oh,
And I'm a yes.
okay.
All right. We got a virtual thumbs up from Ms. Pagan.
The record
Alright.
noted.
All right, Dr. Perry, I'm sorry.
So based on the amendment that was made by the planning board, do I have a motion to approve by the CED committee?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Fred. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mary. Any further discussion on what's in front of us here?
No,
No.
Nope. All right. All those in favor of approval of this with the amendment as made, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Which is only three of us, so motion carries there. We are good.
All right, Dr. Perry, we're gonna split up now, so you guys can.
Do our thing. I think we have a separate,
Zoom link, right?
a Zoom meeting to get into, so we'll leave and get into our other meeting.
I didn't see a separate Zoom link for the CED.
Oh,
I didn't either.
oh, is it the same link?
No, it's not, I don't think it's the same, and I
No.
don't
There
have.
is no
I
link.
tried to get into another meeting. I just had our heading on it and nothing was happening, so I realized I was in the wrong meeting. So
Yeah, I
there
think
was-
that one should have started at 7.
Right, that's scheduled to start at 7.
But
Deb,
I
can
don't
you
know.
send me a link? I'm sorry, it is,
If you go to your email and the
no, it
schedule-
doesn't have a link in the agenda. It
Oh.
it has a typewritten
Yeah.
link. It's not
Yeah.
a hyperlink.
Oh, well, again, if you
You
highlight it,
just gotta copy, you gotta copy and paste it, that's all.
yeah, just copy and paste or go to, it'll take you to the link.
I'll get there eventually.
What about the
Okay.
public? What about us public people?
It's posted on the agenda, you just have to copy and paste it.
It's not there.
You
It's not
type in the meeting ID. Or you copy and paste the hyperlink, which isn't,
Yeah, it's
So-
not in blue, it's just in print, so just highlight it and then say go to with your right click and you can go
yeah,
right.
where
to
it says click on the link below, you can't click on it, so you would have to copy and paste it or type it in.
I don't see anything.
You have to go on the town website. You would have to check under meeting files, and then you would click on agenda. And then that will take you to
Where's-
it's on the town
where's-
website. On the
Yeah,
under
where's
account,
meeting files?
Yep.
Where is meeting files?
it's if you click on download agenda, if you click on the main page,
Under menu, we click on agenda and minutes.
I'll put a link into the chat and help. Not to say anyone shouldn't leave our meeting, but
Why don't we take a 5-minute planning board recess if everybody's okay with that? They can.
so there's the Zoom link from the meeting agenda. You can confirm yourself as well.
The number on that link, guys, ends with 9251.
Yes.
That's this meeting.
Yep.
No, ours is a 7501.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Right, so I'm leaving this one, I'm heading to the other one, guys.
All right, hopefully I can find you. If not,
Okay.
all right.
You can always call them as well. There should be a call number on there as well for anybody trying to get on. Just give it a couple minutes.
Chairman. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me now, correct?
We can hear you, Mr. Gunn.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll
Loud
be
and
doing this from
clear.
my cell phone.
Well, we were on the CED. Let's just wait a minute to everybody's people coming on. Wait 2 minutes and we'll resume our meeting. I see Mr. Chase, you're still with us, right? Yeah. This is how the Zoom bomb started last time. It was the raising hand didn't work for anybody and then people couldn't speak, so.
No, they don't know about it.
We have our IT guy, Mr. O'Brien, with us tonight, though.
It's only happened to me 2 other times before, so don't give anyone ideas.
Another reason we should meet in person.
Hey, here we go. Strike from the.
That's a discussion on the item later. So.
All right, Pat. I think it's been 5. I think we're doing good.
All right, we're good. All right.
Yeah.
So let's continue. Everybody's who's trying to go to the CED meeting is off, and whoever's staying, I believe. All right. So let's go. All right. So continuing on, we do have another public hearing. This is a continuation from April 2nd, 2025. This is 43R Central Square, map 34, lot 66. This is site plan review under section 10.6 and special permit section 6.1.4 and 9.6. This is to convert an existing manufacturing building into a mixed-use building with 6 units. This is continued from our canceled meeting, as I said earlier, from April 2nd. So I will turn it over to the applicant for their presentation. We'll then have board comments and questions, and then we'll open it up to the public for any comments or feedback. So I'll turn it over to the applicant.
I'm Larry Silva from Silver Engineering Associates. I'm here with the applicant, which is Jim Balsamo, and also Matt Holmes, the architect. And we made submittals. We had updated plans to address comments that had been forwarded to us. And there was some off-street parking that was going to be part of the commercial portion of the project. But I think though that there has been a lot of discussion about it, and I think that Matt Holmes is prepared to discuss how we possibly are going to address that and amend the density that we have there a little bit in order to meet the comments that have been made about the project. And Matt, with no further ado, I'd like to let you go forward here.
Sure. Sure. Thanks, Larry. Matt Holmes, MGH Architects. I'm the architect on this project. I think probably the best way to do this is for me just to share my screen, and we can kind of go through the changes in the building, the design of the building. So let me see if I can get this pulled up.
Just to be clear, Mr. Holmes, this is not we have a plan in front of us. This is going to be something different. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, this was kind of a situation that was addressed really today. So the plan that you have in front of you, which I believe was probably submitted last Wednesday, a week ago, something like that. This building design differs from that, and that's what I'm going to go over right now, if that's okay.
Yeah, I just want to note that the site plans that we received, as well as the photometric plans, we received those prior to the last meeting. So we did receive site plans about a while ago.
Correct. The site plan and then the photometrics of the exterior lighting. That doesn't change at all. This is just strictly the building design and density. Okay. Can everyone see the screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I believe the last planning board meeting we had, that version had 5 units. It was essentially 5 3-bedroom units. We have now reduced that down to 4 units. And also only adding 1 additional floor now on top of the existing building instead of 2 floors. So this now will become a 2-story building instead of a 3-story building. The units break down with 2 3-bedroom, in this version, 2 3-bed units, 1 2-bed unit, and 1 1-bedroom unit. Okay, so 2 3s, 1 2, and then 1 1 as far as beds. Again, just 1 additional floor. So all of those units, all 4 of those units will be located on the 2nd floor. The ground level will be now majority, almost all commercial use. There is a little bit in the back for the entry to get up to the back stairwell. And then of course a little bit on the front too for the stairwells to get up to the residential units, as well as a little laundry type space, but I'll go over that. This first page pretty much just kind of shows you know, the exterior view of what the building now would look like. And as you can see, it's now just a 2-story building. The overall design hasn't changed a whole lot as far as aesthetics, besides the fact we lopped off the 3rd floor. But kind of the same similar roof configuration, kind of 2 opposing shed roofs. I'll just go around the exterior a little bit. The existing building is primarily existing brick. There is a little bit of a stone veneer situation that happens in the front. That brick will be repointed and probably potentially, well, will be painted. We'll look at that stone veneer probably during construction just to see that when we start to get into the building a little bit, if we are getting into the building, we'll see what kind of condition it's in, but that might stay as well and get painted, but that could potentially change to another siding or another brick or something to match. That's on the first level. Excuse me. The second level, the siding will be a hardy board, cement fiber type composite siding. The roof material right now we're showing is a standing seam metal roof that'll have some snow guards on them to prevent snow from sliding off. And then as far as fenestration, there will be single punched windows with simulated divided lights. And there'll also be some storefront that you can see in this picture. There's some storefront too. The colors would be, we're looking to do a black color for the frames on the exterior. In the front, you'll see that we're showing a glass overhead door. That's not totally written in stone, but I like to keep showing it because it could potentially be something that would be, for one, aesthetically pleasing. Another could be that whatever commercial space goes in there, it could be a benefit to have it as more fenestration to get light, so on and so forth. And it could also be operable and open, but depending on what's kind of going in there, that could change a little bit. So that's kind of the gist of the exterior. Right now, I'll just kind of jump into the plans a little bit. So this, excuse me, jumped ahead. This is the ground floor plan. The future commercial fit out space is kind of that reddish orange hatched color. Within that is also the gray, which are just placeholder toilet rooms for what could become toilet rooms in a commercial space. So when you have the red kind of orangish hatch and then the gray, that is essentially the future commercial space. The red hatched area is roughly, well, it is 2,059 square feet. If you add in the toilet rooms, you're looking at a commercial space of roughly 2,459 square feet. Okay. Like I said earlier, if you come down the side, you can have another side entrance into the residential, which brings you in a residential, and that's the white portion in the back here. The yellow is a proposed laundry room for the residential. And then the green area at the bottom is a mechanical room. And right now I'm showing it that might be a mechanical that's accessed from the commercial space, but maybe that gets divided up if we need a little bit for the residential. This level, just to give you kind of an idea, this white level back here, along with the laundry room, that is an existing mezzanine. Part of it's existing mezzanine, so that's up 4 feet. So that's why you're seeing a difference in elevation happening here. So that is the ground floor. Also, just in the front, I think we went over this before, but in the front here is another entry into the residential space. This is the front stair that will take you up to the second floor, the proposed new second floor. In the back, you come in, you come up these steps, get up to the mezzanine level, and then the stair goes just the way the model is. You then turn and it takes you up to the second floor. So those are the two entryways up. Obviously this in the front is the commercial space entry, little vestibule here. And then in the back is another egress of some sort that will be needed for the commercial. Okay. Now up to the second floor, residential units, excuse me. I'll go plan top left. Excuse me. Plan top left. The red hatch is one of the 3-bedroom units. To the plan top right, the green is the other 3-bedroom unit. So you have unit 1, unit 2 of the 3-bedroom units. Unit 1, 925 square feet. Unit 2, which is the red, 970 square feet. Then the bottom of the plan to the left is the 1-bedroom unit. Okay, so that would be, maybe I should go in order, I'm sorry. Bottom right is the yellow, that is unit 3, and that is a 2-bedroom unit, 627 square feet. And then the bottom left, again, the blue is the 1-bedroom unit 4, 523 square feet. So that is the residential added second floor. This is the back stair coming up to feed that area, and then this is the front stair to feed that area or the egress. Okay. These are just plans that don't have all the red on them, just showing a little bit more information, square footage, so on and so forth. Same thing on the second floor, just don't have the hatch over them. You can see the layout of the plans a little bit clearer, so on and so forth, but it's the same thing. Axon views, this is just a 3D axon that kind of gives you an idea of the space on the ground floor level, looking two different ways. So this would be the front entry in as you come from Central Square on your left. You're coming in, and this is the commercial space, and you can see in the back, this is kind of the back of house residential side. And then the other side's just flipped the other way. That's all. Same thing on the floor above. This is just axon views showing kind of axon layouts of the residential units. I really don't think we need to get into that too much. These are just some exterior views to give you an idea of what the building appearance would look like. Bottom right, obviously, that's when you're coming in from Central Square. That's kind of the front of the building, we'll call it. The bottom left is just angling down that way towards, I'll call it the east side of the building, and then the other views, you've got to get the gist of different views. These are just more of the back, shows the back view. So if you're facing, the back side of the building, was showing some of that, and fenestration, what it looks like. Obviously, it's lower now. These are just exterior elevations, showing view, flat views. One thing I do want to point out is that we spoke about it before. You'll see there's some light fixture. There's an exterior light fixture here on the front. That's been kind of calculated with the photometric, drawing that was sent. That's just a preliminary thing, but it shows kind of how we can get coverage around the site for exterior lighting. So the front has one. I'm calling the front, I'll call this south just to give you orientation. The bottom elevation here is the east. We do not have any lights there because that is right on the property line. We're not gonna throw light on adjacent property. This would be the back of the building, which is the north side. There is a light located here, which gives all the coverage that's needed for the back parking lot that you've seen or will see on the of the parking lot. And then this would be, the bottom one would be along the west side, which is kind of how people would access the back parking lot, how you access getting into the residential portion of the back stairwell. There's two there to give coverage. And that is kind of just the gist of how we scaled this back. Like I said, it's now just, it's four units. 2 3-bedroom, 1 2-bedroom, and 1 1-bedroom. Any questions, or did I miss anything?
So as far as those changes, the layout, the most recent layout of the site, it works with it very well, and makes it so that there isn't the parking is in my opinion adequate to handle the residential loading and so forth, and leaves you a little bit there for the commercial side. So we'd have to change the tables on these here in the revised plan. That would be the record plan for it, but
So Mr. Silva,
everything is here to be the same.
Mr. Silva, have you gone over these updated site plans since they were submitted? I can't. Have we seen?
Yeah, Matt, can you
Yeah.
scroll down a little bit? It zooms into the parking areas. That little box at the bottom that provides an updated parking site layout.
Parking data there.
Can you show the finished site plan though?
Right there.
Right there.
Yep.
That does the landscaping is shown on that, so there's like a landscaping plan as well.
Yeah, there's a snow storage green area on that backside there, and then we have 5 parking spaces that are in the rear, and then in the front we have 2 additional ones, one being handicap on the front side. The residential for the 4 units would require 4 plus. You need 1 for every 3, so that's really 2. So you're gonna need really 6, and you have at least 1 dedicated commercial one, which is there, but that gives you a little bit more flexibility on on the accessible space as well, so.
Okay. So Mr. Silva, can you, just while you were on the site plan, because we always focus on the site itself.
Yep,
And I know we did receive, the board's been asking for, and we did receive a legal opinion from Attorney Pellegrini regarding the right of way. And I read it a couple of weeks ago, so I don't have it, but I believe Attorney Pellegrini demonstrated that, or demonstrated that his opinion was that the site does have the right to use that both for utilities and access and construction. Is that correct?
that is correct.
So do we have that letter, Shane, or does somebody have that letter?
Yeah, it's available. Let me.
It was posted, Shane.
Yeah, it was posted. I can bring it up on the screen just so for.
So I guess my question is the work proposed in that right away. What is the plan for that to provide ongoing access to the existing building businesses? What is the plan as far as reconstruction? Is it going to be complete? Is that 20-foot right away going to be completely redone? Is it going to be patched? Is it, how?
It would be cut and patch for any utility change or upgrade that needed to happen there. There isn't at this point that I've been told that there'd be a plan to repave the entire 20-foot right away. In fact, 10 of it is really the responsibility of the abutting property for maintenance. Yeah, so this property is required to have a 50% share of the maintenance cost for the 20-foot right away. So it was an interesting way in which the deeds were written, is that it said that 10 foot of it is the responsibility of one owner, 10 foot was responsibility of the other owner, but they both have the rights to the 20-foot right away that is between them there or adjacent.
So I guess my question is what's being proposed to be put underground in that right away? Is it going to be electric? Is it going to be new gas? Is it going to be a new? You show a water line, you show sewer.
The electric is already fed from a pole and then comes down to the building.
That'll remain that way.
Yeah, it has to get over to that mechanical room, Matt. I would assume that we're talking that it'll probably go down underneath, get into the building at that point there, and go across to the backside. The other utilities, the sewer is already in place there, and the water line that comes in, the water line is going to have to be upgraded. So there will be a trench dug to increase the water line size. There's an existing 1-inch there that has to be a fire.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out like what percentage of that right away is going to be ripped up, and is patching it really the best thing, or should it be repaved when it's done? But we can continue that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd like to chime in on that.
Sure.
I would not be opposed to maintaining everything on the 10-foot, which I'm responsible for maintaining, and redoing that entire 10-foot.
Okay.
That way it doesn't look like a patch right down the middle.
What do we have? Some board comments or questions in addition to Mr. Geller, Mr. Costa, Ms. Spoon, Mr. McDonald?
I have a couple comments, Mr. Chairman.
Sure, Ms. Spoon, go ahead.
So I appreciate I want to note for the record that I appreciate the changes and modifications that they made to the plan. This seems to be a better proposal for what they're looking to do on that plot of land right now. It seems to be a more responsible, measured approach to what they were originally seeking. So for me, I'm actually happy with how their revisions have come along on it.
Okay, you said you had a couple comments. Was that just one or?
I think, yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Costa.
Can you bring up that site plan again, please? If you don't mind.
Yep. Shane, am I doing it? Or? Yeah. Well, maybe that's Shane. Sorry, Shane.
So I definitely agree. I like all the new modifications. The only concerning thing that looking at the site plan that I'm looking at, you get the parking, you got, you know.
I think you want to look at the one with the parking. Can you go to the one with the
Yeah,
parking?
go to the, yeah, please. Yeah, that one. Down here. So when I'm looking at this, right, I see you got this, you got the parking right here, you got a 20-foot like to turn around. You got a proposed concrete walkway, then you get another concrete walkway. Where do you plan on putting like all the mechanicals and everything for outside? There's got to be I don't see any room for you to put anything, and you don't got. Yeah, I don't. Where do you plan on putting all your mechanicals outside?
So my first take would be this. We haven't totally gotten there yet, but my first take would be over by snow storage in the green area. There's not going to be much there. If you're referring to like condensing units, yeah, there might be 2 to 4 of them.
You'll be how many?
There could be 4. There could be 2 if they're shared, but probably 4.
And that would include the commercial space too. So you have 4 units plus 2 plus a commercial space. So there would only be 4 units there.
Well, the commercial, it depends. It depends. Is it going to be air conditioned? Is it not? You know, if it's going to be air conditioned, then yeah, then there's going to have to be accommodations for additional condensing units for sure.
Yeah. And then what about like, and then you said you're going to have gas coming in probably, or just electric? Because you're going to have the gas meters outside, correct?
No gas.
Yep.
So there's going to be no gas. It's just going to be electric.
Just all electric. We're going to go with the split systems. It would probably be 1 per unit and then another one for the commercial space.
So it'd be a total of 5 of them?
Yes.
Okay. And then you already said that. All right. I'm just looking right here real quick.
Would it help, Eric, to see the view of the back elevation?
Yeah, can you bring that up? Please.
Yeah,
Okay.
you want to bring that up, Matt?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up.
Because that area over there is kind of ideal for having those units either against the building or a little bit elevated, however they have to be right there.
Right here.
Gotcha. And there's nothing else that you guys are going to be putting on the exterior of the building? Like you guys don't need to, so you have the gas. So pretty much this is the only space for anything that's going on the outside of the exterior building?
Yeah.
Correct. And that's right outside the mechanical room that Matt's showing on the floor plan.
Oh, that is outside of the mechanical room?
Right outside.
That corner right there.
Yeah, can everyone see my cursor when I do this?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that's the back side of the mechanical room.
Yep.
Okay, because that was the only thing that was concerning because the parking, but I'm everything else looks pretty good for the modification that you guys did, which I like.
I will say this, Mr. Costa, as an architect, that's exactly where I want all the mechanicals. It's tucked in the back.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a perfect spot for it, really.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Other board members?
Can you go back to the parking plan for a second?
Yeah.
You want to bring it up, Matt, while you're...
Yeah, I can do it. It's just I got some tabs in the way here. It's right here.
I'll stay out of it.
Oh, Rebecca already warned me.
Called me today too.
Basically on the parking plan, you know.
Yep, there you go.
If I had a big truck, I don't need some type of maybe small hammerhead or something to back out of space number one?
You know, this gets back to our lot coverage and our open space.
Yeah.
Where, you know, we're squeaking it in for open space, so I would say, the hammerhead that you're talking about is really the difference of that, that little tiny, shaded, space that's next to lot, space number one. You got about a few feet going back, but you got 24-foot aisle. That's the other thing that we did incorporate that. Without backing into a green space or anything. So, yeah, I mean, I think that they'll get used to it. But I mean, it's not a huge space, but been worse situations. Let's put it this way, this building was functioning here in the kind of uses that were more industrial kind of uses for how many years, and it had a loading area right in the middle where that dimension 18 is that came across there. And that trucks used to come into that and go back out to Central Square for decades. Okay, so I mean, it's, it meets the requirements of the 18-foot minimum aisle width in the center of town.
Also, I
we
will
got
be
24 in
assigning
the back.
parking spots. So I
What's
would,
that, please?
I am assigning parking spots to the tenants, so if anyone has one of those trucks, they would not be,
It wouldn't be number one.
it wouldn't be number one, correct? I would use common sense and switch around if I had to, but I'd have that liberty to do that. Because I have one of those trucks, by the way. So I know-
We're pretty confident that any fire apparatus won't have any problems if they had to get around back.
The fire apparatus is not going to go around back. Fire apparatus isn't going to put their trucks in that close proximity to the building. They're going to come to the front door and they're going to operate from right there.
So can you go back to where you're down the right of way? Showing where you're digging it, and I can appreciate that most of your work is gonna be trenching on one side of the 10-foot buffer. You're talking about along building number 39. Is that the 10 feet that you're willing to resurface?
Correct.
That's the 10 that he has responsibility for.
And I'll be honest, we're going to the same water main for the domestic as well as the fire. So they would go in the same trench. You can put them side by side. So it'd be a bigger trench, but it would warrant Pat doing the entire side. I'd have no problem with that.
So are you doing all your trenching on that one side?
I am. Providing, like, it shows gas on there, so that's gonna dictate where I can and can't go. I don't know how accurate these are. I'll get it all dig safed and I'll talk to whoever wants to come up with a plan that keeps as many people happy as possible.
Mr. Silva, just to piggyback on Mr. Geller's question.
If you're asking if all the trench work as we're showing it would be neatly on the 10-foot side near number 39, the answer is no. The 1-inch line now, based on where the water shutoff is over on this side. The one that would go with it and the sewer, we have more control over pushing those over a little bit. The gas line, to push that one over, it would make more sense to have the gas line come to the front side of it. But if we had to adjust anything to make that all stay in that 10-foot area, it would be the gas line would be the issue, because the gas line services 43. And so
I guess what I'm asking is if you are going over on the other side, is there any way that where you start to cross over on the other side, you're talking maybe what, 10, 15 feet off of that front walkway? Would you just be willing to create like a L shape instead of instead of just a trench going through one section?
I would. I don't like patches. I
Making
would.
it a nice clean,
Yeah.
clean,
I,
clean mend.
I have no problem with that.
So we'll push it over as much as we can to number 39, but when we cross over that, the 10-foot, then we'll just make that a jog right there when we make it and pave that whole section,
Okay.
right? So it'll be more like a hammer.
Yeah, and then, exactly. And then my question is, are you going to be updating these plans?
We're gonna update the plans because we gotta go back to showing it as 2-story and just adjust the numbers that show that will be consistent with the modified architectural plans.
Yeah,
So-
I'm also looking how that shows, that plan that you're showing right now has three exterior lights in the back, and your elevations show only one, so.
Right, because that yeah, because we've got the architecturals later. We
Yep.
will, yeah, we'll make sure that they match one another.
Yep.
The one thing that we did show, I think that's not shown on the architectural, and I guess it's a question of whether or not, we showed stairs coming off that platform, going towards those parking spaces in the back.
That's right here.
Yeah, right there. I don't think those were shown on Matt's,
Correct. Yeah,
plan, so.
No, but I do like those.
I do
I
like
think
that.
so we'll incorporate those and Matt will just have his on, put his, or adjust his, just to have that on there.
Yeah, we'll coordinate it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Just back to the site for a second. So I wanted everybody else to comment first, so I'm happy as well to see, the scale of the project being reduced. I think I said from the beginning, my concerns were it's just too much for the area, and to see it reduced is a good step in the right direction. So that's a good thing. But my next question is so now we're back to the special permit for the parking, which I think having less units and whatnot makes the special permit, more viable. But I guess my question is what is the basis for the special permit request, and what is the parking plan? So if this goes back there, I just want to make sure it does work. There is adequate parking. If people go back there to park, what is the plan to get them to park in Central Square or on Church Street or whatever it may be? And how do we ensure that the abutting businesses aren't affected by the lack of parking on site?
Well, just like any other business for the juice mill, there's a access right beside it. I know they had major issues, people parking down them, and I think that's a non-issue now. There'll be signage saying resident parking only. It'll be abundantly clear. I'll do whatever signage you recommend.
I mean, do you feel as a business owner and an investor, there's adequate on-site parking for the commercial use to be viable on that first floor?
Depends on the commercial use, absolutely.
Okay. All right, any other board questions or comments at this point?
Can I just add one quick thing too, just to piggyback on that?
No.
The good thing what I've heard is going through the passageway, the access, and if it's inviting a bunch of commercial traffic in there, even if there was parking back there, I think it's a better situation that it's not going to bring commercial cars back there. Cars going to the commercial space. It's less traffic, it's less use, in my opinion. If that makes sense.
If a vehicle does go back there, Mr. Silva, to the commercial use and gets back there and there is a sign saying, please park on Central Square, or please find out, alternate parking. There is adequate area in the front if there are spots in 7 and 8 for a car to turn around.
Yeah, I mean, there is, right now, any vehicle comes down there has to turn around in the same way. They
There's
back out
UPS
into that
trucks.
right away and go.
There's UPS trucks and FedEx trucks there all day long from the other businesses.
Okay.
And the fence is up, so they don't use that property at all. So there'll be more room once the fences come down.
Any other board questions or comments before we open up to public comment?
So with the revised residential space, that would require 7 parking spaces on
6.
site. 6. Okay, so you have your 6, and then you have like 1 for employee parking for the commercial.
Yeah.
And would the commercial requirements still be 7 in total, and you're going to rely on offsite for the other 6? Just making sure I'm getting it.
Yes.
Calculation right.
Yep.
Okay. Kind of in relation to what Pat was just saying about people turning around, maybe some bollards or concrete. I don't know what the technical term is. The concrete blocks to kind of protect that front lawn a little bit, just so we don't get people turning around in there. Might be something worth looking into.
You're talking about next to space number 7?
Yes, sir.
Well, yeah, because we have those bollards adjacent to building 43 and off the corner of 43R. So we protecting those structures, right?
Yeah.
If you want, I guess we could add 2 at the corners there, 1 at the corner of 7 and 1 at the other corner there. Yeah.
So, Mr. Silva, that's a good point by Mr. McDonald. So I see that the double line is vertical granite concrete. Is that VGC or VCC?
Well, when I first talked, and Jim, you can chime in on this, but you said that you originally said that you had that material, so we were changing it to that, but you said it might be concrete instead.
Correct. And whatever I do on the portion along the drive, I'd be willing to do around that parking area, that lawn area in front.
So wait a minute, Larry, the faint pink line, just so I'm looking at this, is the edge of pavement. So there's no curbing, is that correct?
Right now, we were showing no curbing in that area. But Jim is saying that in lieu of doing bollards, if you wanted to have that curbed, he would curb that.
I think curbing would look better, and then that would prevent the cars from parking on the lawn, yeah.
I do too.
Sounds good.
The only thing I would request is along the back where it says snow storage and green area, I might eliminate that granite, correct, just so I can use that for snow storage.
Well,
Oh,
that's needed for drainage, isn't it, Mr. Silva?
No, not really. You go back to the other plan.
Well, I think it's nice to have a buffer there so we don't have cars parking on the grass either, you know.
Yeah, it would only be for the snow. Right.
It is a backstop for that basin. Maybe it would be better for us, Jim, maybe it would be better if we just had Cape Cod berm on that section.
I hate Cape Cod berm.
Well, I'm just thinking if you're thinking about going over it for, for snow storage.
Yeah, that'd be the only reason. To be honest, the amount it's been snowing lately, I can raise my blade and I'd be fine.
Yeah, I think having that concrete or vertical granite's better there.
Okay, so all right. So we're gonna add it on that front little planta. And we're going to change the designation of the granite to either or.
Either or, please.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna well, you guys can discuss that, for the final set, but I'd like to open it up to public comment if you don't mind. So
I have just one more thing.
Oh, sure, Eric, go ahead.
I personally think the whole parking and driving in, driving out, I think it's just gonna be cluster. But I mean, you drive in for the commercial space, all of a sudden no parking. All right, I gotta turn around. It's a one-way rotary. Now I gotta go all the way around. Residents come in, now he's gotta leave because his spots. I think it's just gonna be all cluster in there. I think there's something that we gotta figure out about, turning around and maybe a big sign of like right when you pull in or something, because I personally think it's gonna be crazy going in and out. The juice mill's gonna be packed right there. Can't park there. He's gonna come back out because
No,
he
I
can't
mean,
park.
I agree. That's why I asked what the parking plan, because
Yeah,
it's a special permit. I want to know what I'm fine considering a special permit. I'm really glad they reduced the magnitude of the project, but
absolutely.
we do need a parking plan, so.
Yeah.
But let's open it to public comment, and then we can, maybe some comments will spur other discussion. So if Mr. O'Brien, if you don't, I think we have.
Sure. I have in the chat, I have Janet Hanson, if you'd like to speak.
Hi, Janet Hanson, Pleasant Street, Bridgewater. I might have missed it because I quickly went to the CED meeting, but where is there for walkers from that building to the center of town going in and out? Is there a sidewalk? I didn't see that on the plans I happened to be looking at. Is there a sidewalk? How do walkers fit into that? And I know it's not a big area, so I'd be concerned about where a sidewalk is going to be for walkers, and the concern about people getting hit by a car. It just still doesn't seem like a lot of room to be able to go in and out. And I too would like to know where the intention is for extra parking, because the center of town doesn't really have a lot of parking space, and you can't be parking on Church Street. First off, that's like our parking on Sunday. That's the church that parks there. But I too would like to know where the parking, but is there a sidewalk? Did I miss that in the plans? I would appreciate if somebody could point that out.
So Mr. Silva, can you explain what the
There is no sidewalk provided. There is no sidewalk now. There is no sidewalk that serves the trophy shop, any other use of that same right away.
But you're having residents there now. That's a whole nother
There are
kettle of
residents
fish
there now. There are residents there now.
in that building.
Not in that building, but in that same area.
I know in the area in the front, but you're talking about in the back now, and
In the back, there are residents in the back too, and there is no sidewalk.
all right, well, they
But
mentioned
it
kids.
works fine. I don't think there's any major conflicts back there for that. This isn't like going to be high traffic people walking in and out to the street.
No, but just some type of walking path so that people know that they're protected and not going to have to worry about cars. So, but I'm concerned about the parking. I think it's too big for that area anyway. So that was one point that I had, is if you're going to be walking in there, are you going to, risk getting hit by a car? Because there will be more traffic than it is now. And I hope Bridgewater Trophy Building is protected. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would not characterize it as traffic. There will be vehicles, but it's not traffic like that's a roadway where cars are going zooming in and out. I mean,
that's not what I
it's a
meant.
driveway. It's more like a large driveway that serves the vehicles, the businesses that are in that area, and it'll be serving these residential units above that 43R.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it's going to be a traffic, but there will be activity. I was just curious if there's somebody walking their kid, what's it gonna be like? So I just didn't know if that was in the plan. So that answered my question. Thank you.
All right, and we have the comment, so just not to get too much back and forth. All right, so.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, Pat, you muted yourself.
Jane, we have a Mr. Ray Ajemian. I don't know if you know him or not.
I'm not familiar with the name, but I'm sure he's a nice guy.
Yeah. I apologize, gentlemen. I haven't been involved in this at all, and I'm not on the Zoom call because of this. But it just occurred to me that in watching the presentation, that two of the units are 3-bedroom, and 3-bedroom implies children in my mind. And I'm just thinking, has that been considered, the fact that there may be children that live in the central district, and how is that being considered?
I guess I'll take it. Can't say that I can't say that there might not be children. can't say that any of the projects that are being proposed in the Central District area won't have children. So, there might not be either. So the way that it's addressed is there isn't any special considerations towards that. If they choose to rent the space down in the Central Business District area, they're gonna see what they're getting, and there's not a playground on site or anything like that. So I just not sure how quite to answer that.
No, I only bring it up because when the discussion, when I was on board over at the Perkins property, I believe all the units are 2 bedrooms, 1 and 2 bedrooms. And there was a discussion about, I believe, children at the time, and there is room there. It just occurred to me that the 3 bedroom unit does imply that there may be at least one child in 1 or 2 of the units. And that I'm just wondering whether you consider that you have children walking around the Central District. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Jimmy.
All right, I have an iPad raised. iPad, could you state your name and your address, please?
Happy to. This is Pat Neary on Lakeside Drive. I would just like to ask if the lighting complies with our dark sky regulations.
Yes, it does. Yes, it will. Yep.
And that's also a typical condition that we do put in the planning board decisions as well.
And Mr. Tansey did review the lighting plan for that, didn't he? Mr. Tansey?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I did. I just wanted to make sure that on the architectural plans that the lighting fixtures that were used in the analysis are specified on the plans, and that the heights and the spacings are also specified on the plans to ensure that the casting of the light actually mimics the incandescence analysis. So
yeah, it will be for the permit set and so on and so forth. All that information will be on there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Will the lighting change a little bit with the heights now that you've cut down, you've cut off a story, a floor?
No, because the fixtures were always down enough. The lighting plan that was submitted is based on 15 feet. Now, this is a preliminary light plan. It's not just rudimentary thrown on there, but when we do the construction document set and the permit set, there will be an actual lighting person that actually zeroes them right in on it and gets it more efficient. And then those fixtures will be noted of height and where it needs to be mounted on the building to meet the foot candle requirement, as well as not to spill over into adjacent properties, and also to get the black sky.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Pat,
Thank you.
Oh,
Yep.
All good.
Yep.
All good, Pat.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right, we got David Moore with his hand raised.
Evening. My name is David Moore. I'm trustee of 39 Central Square. We're glad to see the project reduced in size. I think everybody's very pleased with that. However, we're still concerned with the additional off-site parking. Now, I think the plan said there would be a need for 7 spaces off-site. Is that right?
Mr. Silver and Mr. Holmes?
The off-site parking would be dependent on the amount of commercial space that is proposed.
Yeah, I think the last plan presented it as 7 spaces.
Right, exactly.
And depending on the actual use.
Okay. All the proposals that have been made for the downtown area for revitalization have all stated that the best way to go is parallel parking. And the people who are proposing that have said that it will reduce the number of parking spaces around the common by 50%. So with that in mind, that's going to severely impact the businesses. It'll impact the lodge. It'll impact the building next door if the restaurant is ever opened up, because I remember when that building was permitted, I believe the plans call for the use of 12 parking spaces around the common. Now, if you reduce the parking by 50%, you've got some serious parking problems, and it'll have a serious impact on the businesses. So that's our biggest concern. Parking, if everything was confined on site, that'd be great. I think everybody could live with it. But where you're parking off site, just because I know it's a matter of making the numbers work, and I understand that. But it's just too big a project requiring too many parking spaces, and it's going to severely impact the traffic around the common and businesses around the common. People aren't going to have enough place to park. There's already a problem with the nail salon and with the juice mill and church and everything else. It's already tight. Now, if you need 7 more spaces Sunday mornings, I have to agree with Mr. Costa, right? It's just still too intensive a project where you need off-site parking. I think that's the feeling of the members of my lodge.
So
Thank you, Mr.
just
Moore.
one thing I'd like to point out is that, there's been a lot of studies done on the opposite side of Central Square, behind the opposite side commercial spaces, there's that public parking lot. It's not, it's a quarter used on a daily basis. It's never filled up. There's parking down there,
Right.
but people just don't want to go back there and then walk. So, there's parking around Central Square that's not being used. There's been studies done on it. So, we just keep wanting to think that we should be able to just drive down Central Square on Main Street and see available parking spaces available where I could just pull in and then walk 5 feet into a commercial building. That's not how the downtown is, and that's not where it's headed. So I'll just
Well,
leave it at that.
unfortunately, it's human nature. People are they're going
It
to want to
is,
go to the
it
building
is.
out back. They're going to want to visit. They're going to want to go to the business
is.
or whatever. They're going to pull into the first available space.
Yep. But there's many towns now where you have to find public parking, you have to walk a little bit to get to it. And Bridgewater's gonna be that as well. That's just my opinion. So
Well, we're having trouble enforcing that now as it is with the limited parking available. And if you go to parallel parking, it's just going to create more problems, make a bad situation a lot worse.
It shouldn't go to parallel parking.
Well, that's my
Well,
feeling exactly.
This project isn't controlling whether or not
All
downtown.
right, I mean, we're not talking about the common and the parking, so can we just keep the comments to this project, please?
What I'd like to say is this. Without this project and the building being what it was a commercial building.
Right.
It had no parking. So what is the difference now if the residential aspect of it does have parking, but the commercial has the same amount of parking that it had before?
Parking that was there was limited the use of the building, and now you're tripling the need
There
for
was no
parking.
parking. There is no more parking before than there is now. There was a loading dock on the left side. There wasn't access to the back of the building.
That was set back.
Access to the back of the building is for the residential parking that we are providing.
All right, so we get the comment. Anything else, Mr. Moore?
No, that's it.
Thank you.
All right, we have Donna Jewel with her hand raised.
Hi, Donna Jewel, Keith Place. I'm also an abutter to this property. I am happy to see that it has been downsized somewhat, but I do have a few questions. Within the last month or so, there was a site walk done by some of the public safety officials, fire department and police department. Now, I wasn't there, but I was wondering if someone could share what input they had about the project.
Well, we didn't hear from those public safety officials at any point. So I'm not entirely sure what occurred during that site visit, because that was never given to anyone on the town end. When I say on the town end, I meant people involved with this project.
Nor on my end.
Well, should then, that being the case, then should there be a site walk for
We-
safety reasons for this project?
Well, we did a site walk and I provided the application, the plans to police and fire department where I didn't receive any comments. So I would say that that is really primarily up to them to figure out if they would like to partake or not. But what we typically do provide as part of our suggestions and decision making is that planning board does get sign off, and as well as if there are security cameras to be placed on site, that the police department would have access to them in case of any incidences occurring. So
All right, I just like to suggest and respectfully request that somebody reach out to them and maybe see
I
if that
have,
can happen.
I
um,
have,
After they walked it.
I've reached out to the departments. It's up to them to collectively provide comments. I respect that, you know, the town engineer does provide comments on all projects, but other departments do not provide comments.
Well, I do know they were there, and maybe perhaps if somebody else is on here on the Zoom meeting that was there in person could comment. I was not there, so I don't want to relay hearsay on that.
And if those departments want to provide anything, they can provide it to Shane.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Just-
want to rely on hearsay either.
Exactly, that's why I'm bringing it up, and I understand the process that you send them plans, but I was hoping since they were physically there on the site, that maybe we could make an exception and reach out to them and ask them what they thought. Okay, I hear you. The next thing is on the right of ways that Attorney Pellegrini shared an opinion on. Do you have that file available, Shane? There was an earlier file where all the right of ways were posted.
Yeah, that would be as part of the deed information from the original submittal. That was placed on the application for this for its dated deed information for property and abutting is January 7th, 2025.
Okay,
As
I
well as
believe,
Pellegrini's response letter is available under the March file of this project.
right. I believe the right of way that was originally posted in that packet was for our property was the wrong right of way. The right of way that was referred to was for the southern side of the Torrey House, and the property that is actually on the plans and adjacent to this is on the northern side of the Torrey House, is in a different right of way altogether.
So Silva, do you have any info on that from your research?
No, that doesn't. I can't speak to that at all. The
can,
deeds that I've looked at were pretty clear about 43 and 43R having the rights to that right of way. In fact, I'm not even sure that I ever saw what was mentioned about the Torrey property.
Yeah, there were two of them. There are two rights of way. I'm just describing it as you're facing the Torrey House. There's one between the juice mill and the Torrey House. And then there's one between the Torrey House and the lodge. The one that was posted in the packet was the one that was between the juice mill and the Torrey House, which does not provide any access to this property.
I didn't see that, so I can't really speak.
I did, so I just wanted to point that out. So I think you need a review of the other parcel, the other right of way.
All right, thank you. Do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm okay now.
Cool. All right, we have a Bridgewater Trophy attempting to speak. I think John Sylvia. He's clapping, but we're trying to make it work. John, can you hear us?
Yep, John Sylvia, 43 Central Square. The safety meeting that Miss Donna Jewell was talking about, I was there. And the fire department knew nothing about the project. Nothing. So they have a lot of problems. They have issues with the project. So you might want to look into that.
Do you have any fire department people who are there, names?
The chief,
John Schultz?
yes.
Yeah, he received the plans.
It's not Schultz, it's Schlats,
Schlats, I apologize.
please.
Well, he received the plans, John Schlats.
Maybe now. But they didn't know about it when we called.
Okay.
So they do have issues. They have a few things. Safety issues. Really should look into it before you do anything.
Any specifics?
There's no access to
Well,
the
I mean,
building.
I think, instead of debating it tonight, we can, Mr. O'Brien, or myself, or whoever, we can send Mr. Chief Schatz an email just to follow up and make sure we get the plans and see if he has any comments. Maybe he didn't get them, but so. We can, Shane, that's something we can do instead of debating it, correct?
Sure.
Can I make a request that no one goes on the property without my knowing so?
Yeah, yeah. All right. Any other public comments? Mr. Sylvia, I didn't mean to cut you off. Your hand is still up. Would you like to say anything else?
Please. No one went on his property. Nobody went on his property. So we got to straighten that up with the fire department. Can we discuss some other things?
Yeah, sure. I just didn't want to beat the fire thing to a pulp.
No, I understand. Pat.
We believe you they came out, but
Right.
instead of debating whether he came out, whether he had issues, whether he didn't have issues, we can reach out.
I agree, and they're waiting to hear from you.
We can reach out and make sure they get the packet and see if they have any comments.
Fine, yeah, that's fine. So, as far as the parking's concerned, there's not enough parking. You're down to one spot for the commercial building. Correct?
Mr. Silva?
It has one designated spot for the commercial building, which I believe is one more than your building has.
All right.
So,
Mr. Sylvia, any other questions?
yes. The way people will park there, and if there's a commercial business, they're gonna drive straight in, just like they did for the upholstery shop, and just park in the driveway facing that building, because there'll be no parking. And if they want to stay, they're gonna park there, or they'll take one of the spots around the area that they're not supposed to use. Or if they park there, trucks, FedEx, trucks, DoorDash people, whatever, trying to find the apartments, the visitors to the apartment, they're gonna park right in the middle of the right of way. And what's gonna happen is that will then force people that are exiting from the back, the tenants or people going back into the, that live there, they're gonna be right up against our building, within inches of our building. They'll be right there. We know how close it is. So when someone walks out of our business, they're gonna open the glass door, exiting directly into two-way traffic. And you can't see anybody. It's not like a crosswalk where they can see us or we can see them. You're gonna open the door and the cars will be right there, which has never been that case. Two-way traffic. That's a huge
Mr. Chairman,
safety issue.
Let Mr. Sylvia finish his comments, then you can respond.
No, go ahead, Larry.
Okay, so my concern is that it's not the best situation that we all could hope for. But in the sense of fairness, your 10 feet in front of your building is part of that 20-foot right of way. Your gas meter, and now you placed a dumpster and you put a fence there that was never there before. And you've occupied your 10-foot section of the 20-foot right of way. And then I just don't think that's right. But the other part of it is, how does anyone come to your business? Educate us. Where do they park when they go to your business? Where does a truck park when he goes to your business? How is it different?
Can I talk?
Go on, Mr. Sylvia. Go ahead.
All right, so that's not our fence. That fence is not ours. We didn't put it there.
Around the dumpster?
And we have.
All right, well, let's not get into
We had to move
fences.
the dumpster because we
Let's
don't have a
talk about the issues. If it's safety and traffic, stick to
Right.
that.
So our customers park in our designated parking spots. Been that way for 25, 30 years. Many times people come in and now the spots are filled with other people come in to get a coffee or whatever, or they go to the nail places or whatever. It's a big problem. It's just gonna be exacerbated. There's not enough parking. You can't have a business and ask for one spot. What kind of a business is it gonna be? They're gonna park right in the driveway. They're gonna park there. And then as the people go back around, they're gonna try and get out back and go right by our building, right next to it, within inches. Would you like that in your business? Of course not.
I would
Very
just,
dangerous.
how many parking spaces do you have?
We have 4 behind the lodge. So that's where our customers park. So there's not enough parking. There's one spot for a commercial space. The tenants are gonna use up more than what they have out back. They're gonna have visitors and friends and Amazon drivers and FedEx people and so forth and so on. Food deliveries, it's gonna be an ongoing issue. There's not enough parking.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sylvia. Any other comments other than parking? And we got that. I'm not ignoring you. The board's gonna have to consider all this, so. And I just don't want to continue a debate between you and Mr. Silva.
I don't either, but are we finished with what we have now, or do you want to keep talking with other things?
Oh, no, we're not done. Public comments. If you have something else to say, go ahead.
Well, even the right of way, the lawyer had something about undue burden. There's no undue burden on us or anybody else around there. But when we look at it, that's not true. Undue burden, one of the first examples of undue burden is generating significantly more traffic than anticipated. And that's right there, it's right there. So we do have undue burden. And like you brought up about digging it up and so forth, that's going to be a big hassle too, but just the traffic increase alone is an undue burden. That's a true definition of it.
Okay, any other comments, Mr. Sylvia?
I can save some for the next meeting.
Well, we can come back to you. I see Mr. Moore has his hand up, so why don't we?
All right, thank you.
Why don't we hop to Mr. Moore, and if you have something else to say, just raise your hand again. We'll recognize you. Mr. Moore?
Historically, there's been a cooperative agreement with with Mr. Sylvia. His building was owned by 3 generations of the Dorr family who were very active in the lodge and worked very cooperatively. There used to be a plumbing supply place in the basement of the lodge, and everybody worked together. There were no written agreements. It wasn't until Mr. Baroni made a big deal out of it. But what I'm trying to get to is Mr. Sylvia has, you notice the signs on the back of the lodge. It says for Fellowship Lodge and Mr. Sylvia's business name. Why don't I remember that? Bridgewater Trophy. Okay, so there's been an unwritten agreement, and we've all worked together. To say that he has no parking isn't so. People turn around. I've often pulled into the lodge, parked out back, and there'd be a UPS truck parked behind the lodge. So he's got parking. Is it deeded? No, but it's been used, I'd say, at least 75 years, if not 100 years. So there has been an agreement, and I just wanted to add that. There's always been something there.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any other comments at this point?
Can I just add one quick comment? The existing building, a lot of people that are talking here are butters to it. The existing building is a serious eyesore. The property is a serious eyesore. Mr. Balsamo has come in and proposed to clean it up, to make it look presentable, to help our downtown, and honestly has reeled it in a couple times now to make it manageable as far as size and scale. I get that it's kind of the access to this site, and as well as Bridgewater Trophy and some other apartment buildings that are happening adjacent isn't the best scenario, but as far as really raising this property back up to something that is aesthetically pleasing and functions pretty well, and it's not like and just to have residential parking and not allow commercial. Maybe signage needs to be put up, no through traffic to commercial, private way at some point. To keep people from going back there is a huge improvement, in my opinion, of the property. If this doesn't go through, then what's it become? It's just going to sit there and continue to be an eyesore that you all have to look at. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Yep.
Anyone else?
I don't see any other public comments nor any hands raised.
Mr. Sylvia, you just raised his hand. Mr. Sylvia, go ahead.
Yes, you're asking for a change of use. A commercial space would be fine. Business, like it's always been, that would be fine. If you're asking for a change of use to apartments in a commercial space, that's the problem. There's not enough room. If you can't make money just on the commercial space, that's not the town's fault, and it's not the abutter's fault. And the town shouldn't be pushed into approving this just because they think it's an eyesore. It could be fixed up and made into a commercial place. And that's why it was never sold for a decade that it was on the market before, because people couldn't make money off of it. So the town shouldn't be burdened with this, neither should the abutters.
So just the response to that is this is a big discussion throughout the downtown, the Central Square, right? Which is nobody wants to come in and spend a ton of money on a building without getting an income in return. So, you know, to come in and spend $1 million or even more to fix up that building just for a single story commercial space and then hope to get somebody to come in for commercial, that's the problem we have down there everywhere. And this is the same situation. Financially, it's not really feasible to just do that.
Additional public comments? Mr. Sylvia, if you have something new, go ahead. If it's something we
It's just a
heard.
retort to that it's just not the town's responsibility, and it's not the abutters. Keep
No,
this in
and
use.
we got it. We'll take,
All right.
you heard, believe me, it's not,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I don't want to continue debates with, it's more for public comment and input and
Right.
for the board to digest.
Can I say something?
Sure, Mr. Balsamo.
So I have enough parking on site for all the residential requirements. I had located 2 additional locations for all the commercial parking. The abutters have harassed them into submission. So it's hard for me to believe that they have a problem with parking when they've done everything in their power to prevent me from getting parking as it states in the bylaws. I've tried, I've done everything that's been asked. Everything. And I have other properties in town. If we go to another meeting, talk to my tenants, I'm not that guy. I do whatever it takes to make people happy. I really try. But I need, some understanding of the situation.
Okay. Mr. Sylvia, you had your hand up. Are you all set? Just so I can go back to the board. Are you all set, sir?
Yeah, as soon as the other people that he had parking setups with heard about the real story, they didn't want to be involved in it.
All right. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. We get it. Okay.
Thank you.
And if you want to talk about the project, that's keep the comments of the project and we'll. All right. We have Mrs. Jewell. Go ahead, Mrs. Jewell.
Hi, I just wanted to make a statement because through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Balsamo. I'm in a butter, and I'm highly insulted that somebody would say I harassed somebody. I have never harassed anybody over this project. I've been nothing but professional, and I take great offense to that, Mr. Balsamo.
I didn't
And
say
if-
you.
And I would I would like you to connect with me outside of this meeting and explain my role in harassment.
All
I
right.
would
Okay.
appreciate
Good night.
that.
All
Good
right.
night. All right, you guys can connect.
Relax.
Okay, so. All right, any other comments on the project or the issues or concerns or likes of the project?
No
Okay.
virtual hands raised.
So just going back to the board, and I know we heard some board comments and a lot of public comments about safety, the right of way, and in parking. So as far as parking, a special permit's going to be needed to reduce the parking requirement, and there are standards that have to be met for a special permit, and I think there are two in there. So Shane, have they provided any, and I don't know because I haven't seen it in a while, but have we received, I guess I just want, like I asked in the beginning, how do they justify this, typically when somebody asks for a special permit, they have a justification for the special permit. Have we received anything as far as a parking plan or a justification for the special permit or just the application?
I would say that probably on the application itself, the testimony made, as well as I think from the initial narrative, because as we were all aware that from the initial legal ad and the initial request included this as part of it. I think it was just the justification, from my understanding, is that the site is only so big, and for any sort of commercial usage to be located on the site, and the residential units to be located on the site, it's going to be there's going to be a surplus that couldn't be fitting on the site.
Well, so I think, I just thinking from the meeting tonight, right? So I think we need updated architectural plans, which we saw for the first time tonight. Mr. Silver indicated he has to update the site plan. And I think it would be helpful for the board because I know we heard some board concerns about parking. We heard a lot of public concerns about parking and traffic and I think the third thing we really need is how is parking proposed to be managed on the site? Is every unit only getting one spot and then it frees up, 3 spots for the commercial and there's signage at a certain location and it's easy to turn around and they can park on Central Square. I just think we need something to consider to apply the law to vote on that special
Well,
permit.
as part of my memo packet, Pat, part of my recommendations is that there be only residential parking on the site, and that the special permit be pertinent solely to the commercial parking for the site.
And
the
I
waiver-
get that, but I think I just want to make sure, like, I know other members have expressed it, Mr. Costa, and I just want to make sure that the site works, right? I want to make sure that if we approve this, and I do agree it cleans up the area, I do agree he listened to us and cut it down substantially. I just want to make sure that all these potential impacts that we have, potential concerns that we have as far as adverse impacts are mitigated as much as possible through a parking plan. Like, we're going to put a sign here and we're going to put no parking signs here and we're going to, whatever they can do to demonstrate to us that, hey, this isn't going to be a problem, right?
Sure.
They're saying it's not going to be a problem and they can park in Central Square and the abutters are saying it is going to be a problem. So I just think we have to vote on a special permit. And I think that these plans have to be updated anyway. Maybe a parking plan as far as how vehicles are going to be managed on site, what's available for parking, and how people are going to be directed to not park back there or find an alternate option. I just think that would, we have to decide on the special permit. So, other board questions or comments or concerns, things we want to see?
I'll just be pretty blunt. That's different from usual. I'm kind of on the edge on this one. Obviously the parking is a huge concern and rightly so. And the abutters are well heard and I agree with a lot of what they bring up. The other side though is I really don't know what better project you could realistically put back there now that it's been cut down. I think the size reduction was great. Now I think it kind of works if I can just get over this parking hub, but it's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know where I lay on this one. So yeah,
Well,
definitely move parking in.
I think I feel the same way, Shane. I mean, I feel that they finally heard us and reduced I just called you Shane. I'm sorry, Michael.
Okay.
I've lots of cold medicine in my body right now. But I just, my one concern is that we do this and then there's all types of issues. I just want to be assured if we do this and if we do grant the special permit for parking, that these abutters do have real concerns and they have real businesses and real investments back there, just like Mr. Balsamo. We want to make sure that they all don't, conflict. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, exactly my thoughts. I think there's a possibility it might be, the least bad option that can go back there, and there's a possibility that it's just still can't work with the current parking situation. I think anywhere else it would be a great building, but in that spot, I just still don't know.
Mr. McDonald, I totally agree with you. I'm on the edge of this too. I agree with Jim too. He has done everything that we've asked him to do. The project's awesome. Looks good. Look at everything. To me, would be a good project. Having a good plan over there. But I'm on the edge of that parking too. So I agree with Pat, Mr. Chair, and Mr. McDonald about let's get something together to work this out.
So Matt, I guess the question I have is, if he was able to get all this parking on that site that's required, would we even having this conversation?
No. But he'd need to add 6 spots or find 6 within 500 feet.
No, I understand that, but if he went for a different type of variance to get rid of all the green grass that's in the back that no one's gonna see, and filled it with parking.
Well, it would require another board to make a decision for us to make a decision.
I mean, we can't speculate what another board would do. I mean,
No, I completely understand that. I mean, I think that, I do hear all sides out there, so. It is a lot to take in, and I look forward to seeing the revised plans.
Mr. Chairman.
this is what we're going.
Yeah, I would just say to you that, this is kind of like, in one way, it's the tip of the iceberg. Because what you've been pushing for in your zoning and everything is to have mixed use downtown. And so here comes a project that wants to do the mixed use. And what does it run into? It runs into what every project that's in a urban kind of environment, which is a downtown area, is faced with this. I go to the North End in Boston often. Okay. And when I go there and I'm going to go to a restaurant that's on Hanover Street, I may park 3 blocks away, fighting to find a parking space somewhere out there that may be around for me to be able to go to Hanover Street. If you want to do it, you're going to go there. The only difference here is you have the residential, and in North End, you got residential, you got commercial, but it works. Like everywhere else that there's density, it works. We're just not used to it. So we're not used to just letting nature take care of itself. And people are going to park where they need to park in order to make it work. What we're doing is providing for the assurance that the residential, which is really what's been added here, has its parking. The commercial never really had parking to begin with. So
I agree with that, but and it is a tough site because it's probably one of the only sites downtown that doesn't have any frontage, right? So I think that's where the issue comes in. I think if this was on Central Square and you could pull up right in front of the building, I think it's different. I mean, I think that.
Well, you say it's different, but we got Mr. Solari here. Okay, so Mr. Solari, somebody comes before him and they want to change a use, just like the one I always use is the juice mill. The juice mill came in and they took occupancy in a building that used to be a glass shop. That glass shop never had any traffic there. Never had any traffic there. Juice Mill comes in. Yeah, they're doing well. They need parking spaces. People find it. They find it on the common. They find it there, and they find wherever they need to in order to do business at the Juice Mill. Any other business, the barber shop across the street, same thing.
No,
All these businesses, they find a place to do it if they're going to do business there. If what you're talking about is having signage that says that it's only residential parking only, well, then that's going to be a problem because that's not how the trophy business works. So if you're
All
looking
right, so
for signage, you got to be careful about signage.
all right, and believe me, I think the only one that wants this wrapped up more than me is Mr. Balsamo. So why don't we talk about what we need, what the board still is concerned about, so we can get that for the next meeting. And then we can close the public hearing at the next meeting if we feel we have enough information and the board can make decisions and conditions. If that's how the board wants to proceed. Or does the board want to close the public hearing now? I think we probably need the updated plans.
Yeah, I would leave it open for now, personally.
Is there anything you guys would like to see in addition to what we're asking for to help you better make a decision on the special permit of the site so that we can give that direction to the applicant now?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, Mr.
Right.
Tan.
I don't know if this is viable, but sometimes green open space can be converted to green parking where you've got these open cement.
Yeah, I think we looked into that, but our definition of open spaces doesn't allow for that. If you remember, Mr. Silva did have an area for parking that was open space, and it didn't comply with the zoning. So they already had a rendering of that. So
very good.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure, Mr. Wilson.
Are we trying to get more parking back there and more traffic, or just enough for the residential? And that's why I'm going for the special permit. That would limit the traffic back there. I thought that was our intent. Did I misread that?
No, and that's what we're considering. So you are correct.
Okay, thank you.
So we need updated plans and just some sort of a justification for the special permit for the parking. Is that what we're looking for from the board? And Mr. O'Brien is going to send a reminder email to Chief Schlotz to make sure we get the plans and to see if he has any comments before we close this out.
Sure, I did send the initial email in November, so I could see where he could have forgotten.
Okay, and then if anybody about Mr. Balsamo, his team has anything to submit between now and the next meeting, let's try to make a decision either way. I mean, I think I appreciate the developer scaling it back as we heard. And my one hang up is I just want to make sure that it's successful for him and the abutters as far as traffic and parking. So we can all digest what we heard tonight and updated plans and hopefully wrap it up at the next meeting.
I would add that I will be looking at Mrs. Jules. She indicated some language about the right of way. I will look into that to see what she was referring to see if I can get clarification on that.
Okay. So the right of way, the updated site plan, the updated architecturals, the special permit justification, and Mr. O'Brien's follow-up with the chief. Right. So, I mean, I know I think it's been scaled back. I think there are still some concerns. I think there are a lot of good comments on both sides tonight. So, hopefully the board, digests all this and has their final questions, and we can get all the final information at the next meeting and to try to wrap this up. When is the next meeting, Mr. O'Brien?
It will be May 7th.
Does that work for your team, Mr. Silva and Mr. Holmes?
Yeah, that's fine with me. Yeah. I don't want to speak for Larry or Jim, but I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Doing perks all day, but I'll still make it.
Well, it seems like everybody thinks Rebecca is more tech savvy, so maybe you can send her, right?
She hasn't got a conflict. She was doing a Rainham meeting, so yeah, she'll be available, and she's probably better to talk to than me anyway.
No, I'm kidding.
I don't need to have you guys all agree on that at one time, okay?
All right.
Did we say May 17th? Is that correct? Sean?
May
Seventh.
7th. I apologize.
Seventh.
First
Okay.
Wednesday of May.
That's why I asked. All right. That doesn't seem right.
No, I mean, I feel like tonight we finally made some headway and we're getting to where we need to be. And whether it's good or bad, it's just, I think everybody, you know, if we can get their final thoughts and questions out and get information next couple of weeks, we can hopefully wrap this up at the next meeting. So, all right. Any other comments from anybody before we take a motion to continue this? Ms. Pagano, you just waving?
No, I was gonna make the motion to continue it.
Okay. So
Motion.
Ms. Pagano made the motion to continue to May 7th. Do we have a second?
I second that.
By Mr. Costa. Any discussion? Okay. Ms. Pagano?
No, that I was coughing. Sorry.
Oh, roll
Ms.
call.
Pagano?
For roll call, yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Okay, and just, it'd be helpful if there is any conflict. I mean, this is a special permit, so we need as many people as possible here. So if everybody can make it as far as I know on the 7th. I should ask that before we voted.
Please
As
attend
far as I'm
all
aware.
meetings.
Okay. All right. All right, thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we have item we're on
19.
item 4 to definitive subdivision plan, the public hearing. This is 1968 South Street in Zero Mansion Way, which is map 125, lot 17, 103, and 104, Mark McLeod. This is a definitive subdivision for 2 new house lots along with roadway. With new roadway and waiver requests, this is continued from a canceled meeting on April 2nd. So I'll open that public hearing. Mr. O'Brien, do you have the, yep, so.
Sure do.
I'll read the legal ad. This is Mansion Way, legal notice, public hearing, notice Bridgewater Planning Board on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025 at 6:30 PM in the council chambers at 66 Central Square, Bridgewater, Mass. 02324, unless otherwise specified on the official agenda. The planning board will conduct a public hearing on an application subject to the Bridgewater subdivision rules and regulations by Mark McLeod for a proposed subdivision with 2 new house lots with requested waivers to be located on Mansion Way. The locus is located off South Street on Assessors Map 125, Lot 17, 103, and 104. The plan and application were prepared by J.K. Holgram and Associates and is on file in the office of the town clerk and the CED office and website. All interested persons are encouraged to attend the Bridgewater Planning Board. This was posted in the Brockton Enterprise on 3/19 and 3/26 of 2025. We did receive a memo from the applicant and their representatives today demonstrating that they did notify all the abutters, I believe twice, and they did send out the green cards. So the meeting is open. Mr. O'Brien, we did receive all necessary applications and fees, correct?
There's a request on this
Yeah, hang on.
application for the engineering review fee to be waived on this matter. The applicant did present a narrative explaining the request. So I would leave that up to the board in terms of allowance of that fee. But I'll open it up to the applicant to present their case on that matter. But I know the Scott Rogers is here from J.K. Holmgren Engineering so he can better say it than I can.
Yeah, great. So we'll turn it over to you, Mr. Rogers.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Scott Rogers from JK Home Engineering. Before you tonight, the parcel itself is a 5.63 acre parcel of land. It's going to be a 3-lot subdivision called Mansion Way, as of right now anyways. The applicant, as was mentioned, is Mark McLeod. So this project was approved back in 2020 as pretty close to what you see today, but there are some changes which we'll go over. That approval did expire. So the road layout itself is for 3 lots, one of which is an existing house, which will remain. So some of the changes that were made to the subdivision itself, we did revise the road design. So what we did do was we super elevated this. When I say road, I want to say
Mr.
basically.
Rogers, do you want to bring up the plan so you can show us the changes, please?
Sure.
I think Mr. O'Brien can allow you to share the screen.
Yep, should be good to go.
Can you see that?
Nope.
Nope. How about that one?
Still no.
See
It's
it
a,
now?
it's a red panda. No, I think if you just pull up the file, you should be okay now. The 2 things you need in life, HydroCAD and Google Chrome. All right, we see ya.
All right. Yeah, so we super elevated the roadway. The old design had basically a crowned driveway, which basically created the need for swales on both sides. We decided for the sake of disruption that we would basically super elevate the driveway and create the swale on the western side. We also, the stormwater basin, which is located towards the wetland area, that was shifted basically. It was kind of split between, I'm going to call them lots 2 and lot 3, the 2 proposed lots in the rear. So that old basin location was kind of split between those 2 lots. But the lot on the left-hand side, if you will, if you're coming down Mansion Way, had not much of a backyard. The other lot on the other side had a bigger backyard. So we decided to shift that location of that stormwater basin. We did do a full-blown drainage analysis and a report that came along with that. We also did a sediment and erosion control plan, which does show construction exit and other, interesting things for sediment and erosion control, silt sock and all that. We did get some comments recently, the last few days from planning staff. And we also, one of the things that came up on the comments was the question about the hammerhead. We will contact the fire department to discuss that particular question and make sure that they're okay with what we're proposing. And then we did receive a comment letter from the town engineer as well. I went through all those comments. Nothing on there is earth-shattering or problematic for us, so we can definitely make those changes and get those back to the town. We did go to the Conservation Commission with an order of conditions. We did receive an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission. One of the comments that came up from them as well as staff was the need for Natural Heritage to weigh in on the project. And we did receive a letter from Natural Heritage that they have no issues with this particular project. So with that, I'd like to answer any questions that you may have.
Great, thank you, Mr. Rogers. So just a couple of questions, and maybe Greg, you can weigh in on these, just going through the plans. So the drainage swale that's shown, so we do have a road profile, Greg, that doesn't the 16-foot layout, isn't in our rules and regs, isn't that supposed to be crowned with swales on either side? So I guess my first question is, would that be a waiver?
Yeah, that probably would be a waiver. I would think that it's minor in nature just because it's only 16 feet wide and it's just going into a swale. I wouldn't, yeah, from a functionality standpoint, it'll achieve the same thing. It's just less infrastructure that would have to be maintained.
Okay, so the grass swale that's shown too, that doesn't comply with our rules and regs with the crushed stone and the infiltration connection points. Is that why is that? Am I missing something? When I looked at the detail sheet in the road profile, it just shows a 2-foot grass swale. How does that grass swale drain? Is that connected to something? Why doesn't it have the stone and the infiltration connection points that we require? And what are your thoughts on that?
I think we should probably have the swale revised, so that it does have some connection points in the stone.
We have the swale detail, right, in the how we want it. Is that correct?
Yeah, in our regs, yeah.
And because does that, and Mr. Rogers, does that swale just hold the water? Does it have an outlet? How?
Nope, that swale basically follows the edge of the roadway, which is about a little less than 2%. The swale discharges to what's shown on my plan as catch basin 1. So the swale does discharge to a low point with a catch basin. That catch basin is connected to another catch basin on the opposite side of the road, and that discharges to the stormwater basin. So there is an outlet. It's not a blind swale that just collects water.
And then the detention basin out beyond out in the back of those lots, lot 104. There doesn't appear that looks like it just is brought down to like elevation 25.5, and then there's no recharge components in that system. Is that correct?
It is a recharge. There is recharge to that.
Is there stone under what is are there infiltrators under that, or what is the
No, it's basically an earthen detention basin. It's designed to handle the 100-year storm.
So Mr. Tanzi, we typically talk about detail 10, which shows like the grates and the stone connection points. I mean, that's how we've always asked for it, both in the swale and in the drainage basin. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a small basin. The DEP standards do allow for this type of detention basin. This subdivision, again, it's not going to be maintained by the town. Our local, subdivision control law regs require, the stone infiltration underneath it. But in my understanding is that this subdivision had already been approved, so I didn't include that.
I mean,
in my comments.
it wasn't designed like this before, though. It had trenches, it had swales on both sides, correct?
My understanding, I thought it had a detention basin in the old design.
No,
I didn't know
it did, but if it had a crown road, it would have had swales on both sides.
Right.
We've always, with these 2-lot subdivisions, 3-lot 4, we typically there's a swale detail in our rules and regs that, I mean, if they want to ask for a waiver, if you think there's a benefit to granting a waiver, otherwise we need that recharge added, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I suppose that would be the neatest way of doing it, is just adding the stone recharge underneath the basin,
Under
as
the
per our regulations.
under the basin or under the swale?
The swale.
All right.
This-
What
this-
about what? All right. So and then Shane, you mentioned they added the house, but this I assume just from because we approved this before, these lots meet frontage and whatnot. We also have the building block that typically that our rules and regs have to be on, what's it like 60 by 80 at the 40-foot setback?
Correct, and that needs to be featured on the plans, and that was something I did mention in the memo. I don't have any concerns that it doesn't fit just based on the last plan, but it's just something that needs to be featured on this set.
And then the landscape plan of street trees you mentioned in your memo.
Correct. Any point where there's applicable waivers that are necessitated, that they just be provided in a format that's, that the board would be able to vote on.
Yeah, I mean, most of my questions were around the swale, the detention basin, the zoning box. There's no street trees or landscape plan shown on this plan per our regs. And the one thing I just point out, I'm not against it, but our regulations say we can't have proper names, and that came from public safety. So they would have to ask for a waiver if they want to name it KC Way, I guess, right?
Yeah, I would say that's probably the case. I would say too, from an assessment standpoint, there is, these parcels do mention Mansion Way being in existing. They're both referred to as Zero Mansion Way on our assessment, but yeah, that's something that would be, as part of this, similar to what we did with Ceredum.
I believe the intent is to keep the roadway as Mansion Way.
Any other board questions or comments? Shane, other than your memo, I mean, and the things I went over, do you have anything else to add?
No, I just wanted some feedback primarily on the fee waiver request. That's something that I can't necessarily waive. I can only ask for, but when an applicant does provide a narrative for the fee waiver request, I just think it's appropriate for the board to respond in a favorable or unfavorable manner.
Well, we'll talk about that. It looks, I mean, I think the drainage obviously needs to be reviewed, just pointing out the few things that I saw right away. So we can, let's see if there's any other public comments at this point. Is there any board comments? Members of the public that would like to speak on the project?
All right, let me see the chat. Let me see if anyone has their virtual hands raised. I don't see any recent comments in the chat. And I do not see any virtual hands raised at this time. So I'll leave it back up to
Shane, the other thing that was in Greg Tanzi's memo.
Yes.
This drainage is being analyzed, but he asked who witnessed the test pits. Because he didn't. So does he need to witness test pits?
I don't know if they're test pits based on what was done for Twin Mansion.
What were those witnessed? Were those
I assume so.
But in the decision, did we say, prior to construction? I mean, do we know who those were witnessed by? Or is everything?
I don't know offhand who witnessed. I didn't see anything within the last decision. The last decision discussed.
Wait a minute, though. We have an engineering report for that last project, correct?
Yeah, that was done by, was that done by ML?
HML?
I believe so. I included the last packet as part of that application. So that's something.
So Greg, to analyze the drainage and the proposed drainage and the infiltration that we're talking about, do you feel you can go off what they provided you, or do you need to witness test bits?
Um, if those test bits were witnessed, I'd be fine with it. Maybe we do just a if not, maybe we do a confirmatory test bit just to see that if the material is good material. It's up to the board. I'll I'm fine with going out there and witnessing a couple of test bits if that's what the board feels. We really do require that the drainage gets witnessed by somebody from the town. I just couldn't determine if those test bits were witnessed by an agent of the town or not.
No, the only thing I could say were there were test bits done by Costco in September of 2019. But I can't see anything where it was confirmed or not. We can go back in the minutes and see if there was any conversation about it, but if I think you're on the board, Pat, so if you can't,
Okay.
I don't have any confirmation if a zoo or anyone
Well, I mean, it's
went
a
out.
different, one swale's being eliminated. I just think the drainage needs to be reviewed, based on the comments that I brought up tonight and whatnot, so.
Sure thing.
And Greg, you're the engineer that's gonna give us the certification that what they're proposing is adequate, so if you want certified test bits, I think you should say that and have them coordinate with you.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I think we should just go out there, pop a few holes and just confirm that the material is adequate for what they're proposing to do.
I just want to point out that we did get permission, or we did get approval from Conservation Commission. And this subdivision was approved before in 2020 with test pits, with planning board approval. The actual basin itself has not changed in size. Yes, it's shifted, but I have no problem with doing it. But I just want to point out to you that the questions that you're asking have already been addressed in previous approvals.
Any other discussions? I mean, Greg, if you have to review this project, we don't waive,
Yeah, the swale has been switched on the other side. We do a few test pits where the swale is and, a few where the detention basin is, we'll log them up and,
and then the swale has to be designed to the town standards, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And I believe that's how it was designed in the last project, right? It had infiltrate, and I don't have the last project in front of me, but.
I didn't review the last project, so I don't know.
All right. So I think at this point, anybody from the boards are welcome to chime in. I think, the drainage has some things that need to be addressed and needs to be witnessed. Comply with our regs, get the test bits done, street trees, landscaping plan, and has a water impact fee been paid? And has that I just want to make sure the water department's looped in with these projects early on, because I know there always are water concerns or issues. Shane, has this been sent over to the water department, and has the applicant filed a water impact form?
Not that I'm aware of. It has been sent over to the water department where I didn't receive any, I don't believe any comments on this matter. I did let them know. I think they asked about if it was previously approved or not. But
And
typically
one comment I've received from the water department is we should be encouraging them to also fill out a water impact form, so.
And I do, and that is also something that we do if we didn't get provided one as part of the initial design, conditioned of an approval.
Well, I know, and how is the water proposed on this? Are they still talking about looping? Does this have to be looped or not, or? Have we heard from the water department?
I'm assuming it's meeting the same criteria as the previous one. Our subdivision rules and regulations have only kind of changed a little bit since 2020. So I don't know if any water requirements have changed.
So this was sent to the water department and police and fire.
Correct, as I do with all applications.
No, I know you do. I know you do. I'm not, I just wish they would respond, that's all.
Oh, I would too. It would move things along quicker.
Okay, anything else that we can think of? Mr. Rogers, you'll connect with Mr. Tansey on the drainage stuff, and then Mr. O'Brien mentioned about updating the plans just to show the zoning boxes and the frontages and et cetera. Street trees and landscape plan will be added. That's about it.
We will do that.
I think you got it pretty well covered.
All right. Are you guys comfortable going to the 7th, or would you like the second meeting in May?
Can we ask for the 7th? And if we can't make that happen, we'll ask for a continuance. But I think the thing that might take the longest time is the test pits, but we can schedule something tomorrow.
Yeah, and before we do that, I just we do have a waiver request for the fees to review it. I'll entertain the motion to approve or deny the waiver. I just think that we ask everybody else to pay fees to have the town engineer review stuff, so I would probably be against it. We would make everybody else pay them, but it's up to the board.
In fairness, I wasn't able to find the narrative in the packet, so if the applicant wants to speak to that, I'd still hear about either way. But
I guess share it on my screen. But you can reiterate it.
I guess my point is that there is a further review that's needed, so.
yeah, I can't really argue with that logic. So.
So before we continue with this, somebody want to make a motion to either approve or deny the waiver request?
I'll make a motion to deny the waiver request.
We have a second to Mr. McDonald's motion.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
With the cost.
To deny it.
Do we have any discussion on that? I mean, if it was the exact same plan, and I'd be fine with it, but it needs stuff done. It needs an on-site review. It needs another review of the drainage. So
Can I interject?
sure, Mr. Rogers, go ahead.
So there are no new lots. There's no additional impervious coverage. The actual basin itself is the same size. It's been shifted. The change we made to the swale, I understand that about the test pits and all that. We're professional engineers. We have stamps. We have licenses. It's been reviewed by your town engineer, and his comments that he had are minor. I don't see the point. It's not even the money part. It's just having it reviewed again for something that was reviewed 3 years ago. And I just don't see the point of having that discussion even occurring.
Well, I think we want it reviewed again. I mean, I think the approval was 5 years ago. Most of the people on the board were different. I pointed out a few things about the swale not complying with the current regulations. So I think we want our town engineer to do a thorough review of the drainage and to do on-site test pits. So I mean, that's typically what the fee is for. And there is going to be a review. It's not like there's not going to be a review. What he said.
There was one done by your town engineer.
Right, and
I have a letter.
Right, and that's Mr. Tansey, and he just agreed with the comments that I made that the swale doesn't comply, that we need to add infiltration, and that he doesn't need to do on-site test pits. So the town engineer does have to do a review, is what he's saying.
So you're not saying it needs to be sent out to a third-party review?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. O'Brien, is it possible to do a partial waiver of the fee?
You can
Not
do
sure.
whatever you guys want to do. To be honest, you can't just ask for more. So
I wasn't planning that one, don't worry.
no, I'm just making sure. No, you can ask for a reduction or a waiver of fee. If the board feels that it's appropriate. It's just, you have to have some sort of basis and a vote on the matter.
I mean, we have a motion and a second, so we have to deal with that. And I mean, this project expired. I understand it's expired and it's changed, right? So the road slope is different, the swale setup is different, and it needs a review. So I mean, I don't know how we arbitrarily say we're gonna take 10% off, 20% off. It just, we have rules and regs, and if it didn't need a review, I would say we don't charge a fee, but we're asking our town engineer to perform a review and witness on-site test pits and review the data and the plan and to recommend changes. So
I mean, to just be straight, I don't know what goes into an engineering review because I'm not an engineer. My line of thinking was simply that given that the majority of the project has been reviewed, and while there are substantial changes, bodily it remains largely the same. So maybe a reduction would be appropriate. But again, I don't know what goes into the review, so maybe the whole thing has to be done over again. I don't know how those work.
I would say that the difference is because initially the applicant was assuming that this would be a modification to the initial plan. A modification review is 2,500, where the initial new review is 3,000.
all right, so we have a motion and a second to not waive the fee. Is there any discussion? Any
Mr.
further?
Chairman? Mr.
Sure,
Chairman?
Mr.
So I guess what I'm hearing from the conversation is that while it sounds like there are major modifications, it sounds like there's already been review work done in the last few years, but based upon the information that we likely still have on record with the town engineer, does any of that material still have any weight or relevance to what the proponent is seeking now?
I guess we won't know until test pits are done and he further reviews the plan. I mean, I just pointed out a couple of things with drainage that don't comply with our regs, and then we need test pits. So, I mean, the plan expired. There's no subdivision plan there right now.
So I guess my follow-up question then, Mr. Chairman, would it be feasible to compromise on the fee itself, since it sounds like we have the ability to do some sort of reduction on it, knowing where there has been some work done, but recognizing that there needs to be more engineering review on it? I suspect that if we were to take a look at what the previous work was and then take a look at what the work's going to be now, split the difference, would that be something that we could potentially suggest in this instance, or would it be more prudent to go with the full fee?
How do we know how much work needs to be done? What if the test pits come back different than they were? I mean, how do we know?
Just putting it out there. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, I think it's fair on both sides, but to be honest, I've come around to Mr. Driscoll's point of view. He's right. The permit did expire. It needs.
I mean, if we didn't need test pits, if we didn't find, if the plan didn't change, if I'd be 100% for it. But we're asking Mr. Tansey to do a review, and the town has a set fee for that review. I didn't set the fee. It is what it is. So I think we either say, we have a motion to deny the waiver. If people want to vote against that, vote against it, and we can have one to accept the waiver. Unless people want to pull their motions back, but we have a motion and a second to deny the waiver. Any other
No,
discussion?
sir. I'll keep the motion.
I second the motion. To deny the.
All right, so I'll take the roll. Mr. Geller?
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Ms. Pagone,
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Okay. So the fee for the review and the review should take place. And what about the date of May 7th? Do we want to have a motion to continue this to May 7th?
Motion to continue to May 7th?
By Ms. Pagone. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Geller? Any discussion? I'll take the roll, Ms. Pagone,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
Mr. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Connect with the town engineer and we'll see you guys on the 7th. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. So we have a item 5. This is a minor modification, site plan review request. This is 630 Elm Street. This is modify existing plan to add one 30,000 gallon propane tank adjacent to other tanks. This was original approval was in January of 2016. Is there anybody here from the team for this?
Oh, we have a Mr.
Mr. Tufts?
Tufts. Mr. Tufts?
There we go. I forgot to unmute. Yes.
Getting overtime tonight.
Yeah, my name is Jeffrey Tufts. I'm from Easton, but I'm the operations manager for Devoney Energy's propane division. The nice thing about this is the reason why we need to expand is that business is good. It's been successful around here. And the benefit is that we need to just expand storage so we have more ability to keep up with the demands. If we had a normal, what we would call a normal winter this winter, and we were changing those tanks out, meaning turning them over once a day, and we just needed some more buffer. The actual expansion of the gravel area is 4 feet, I think, just shy of 4 feet by 77. So we just need to change our existing pad by 4 feet, and the tank would fit in there with all the others. It's not going to create any more traffic. It's not going to have any more congestion. It's just the fact that we need some more storage.
I'm talking to myself. It's a shame.
Yep.
Everything was submitted and the fee was paid, the application, all that stuff, correct?
All the stuff they need to do correctly, they did correctly.
And this is just, I mean, this is minor. I mean, is this more, I mean, I understand it's a site thing, but did the fire department weigh in on this? I guess that's my only question.
I didn't receive feedback on the matter from the fire department. I know initially when this was approved, as well as the board did approve a minor modification to expand it, one other tank. I don't think there was any other feedback. But I would say that applicable fire code still remains for this, and that I have not heard any thing negative regarding this property from fire department since my time here.
I met with, Mr. Chairman, I met with Craig Nettle, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yep.
Yes.
We had determined, we met, and the chief was there also, and we determined that we really needed to go to the town first to get permission for it. And then after, if with your approval, we would then go to the state fire marshal and get an upgrade to our storage permit, and that would also go, I believe, to the selectmen also, because it is a license to store product on the property. But they were saying it was the cart before the horse type of thing, that it wasn't with them at the moment. They didn't have any issues, but that we just needed to go in the proper order.
Great. Any board questions for Mr. Tuss?
Yeah, Mr. Tufts, forgive my ignorance. I'm not in the gas business. Is there a fire suppression system in that tank storage area?
No, there is no, we have an on-site hydrant, but there's not a suppression system.
Okay, so nothing would need to be expanded with the extra tank or anything like that. The current
No.
hydrant has enough capacity, all that kind of stuff. Okay, perfect.
Anyone else? Any staff concerns or questions?
No, I think it just from my end, it's just proper process being followed. I know that the applicant, received initial permits or approval from the planning board. I would say that all applicable conditions of that decision remain. Just the fact that we would incorporate this new site plan review as the most current record of this project.
So if there's no more questions, do we have a motion to accept this as a minor modification?
So moved.
By Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Geller.
Yep.
I'll take the roll. If there's no discussion. Ms. Pagone,
Yes.
Mr. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, so motion to approve the minor modification
Motion to approve?
by Ms. Pagone. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Geller. Any discussion? Ms. Pagone,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
Mr. Costa. Mr. Costa, Eric, you good?
Yes. Sorry.
And I'm a yes. Okay, well, I guess Shane, maybe in the approval, you can just add that they need to meet all fire requirements.
Yeah, I think that was something that was typical of the previous decision, so I think that would just kind of remain. So.
Yeah, it
I
really
think
does.
I think the public safety thing is the biggest thing, just to get that checked off, and it's pretty minor from our end. It's a 4-foot.
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chairman, it goes into the with the fire marshal, they come down and they actually do the inspections. We have to certify inspections every 3 years on all the tanks. As each vessel there has a serial number and is tracked in just like a vehicle. They follow the condition of the tanks.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your consideration.
Item 6, we have the tree committee discussion. I know Mr. O'Brien's looking to get our opinion on recommending or not recommending the I don't know, is it considered an order, Mr. Ajemian, or how is that?
I would recommend this.
No, what do we, is it an order? Is that what it is? Or is it just?
No, well, it's a change. It's actually, I'm not sure whether it's going to be added to the shade tree ordinance or not.
Okay.
This came about because I think I mentioned before that if you remember, Mr. Chairman, we have mitigation money for trees that we received from 2 developments, and we received that money because we asked for it. And it was recommended by the past town manager that we have a mitigation schedule instead of simply asking for money. And so That said, we did put together a tree mitigation formula. Subcommittee of the tree committee did back in the fall. And we submitted it to the interim town manager, and she suggested that you look at it. Now, I know you had some concerns before, and whether perhaps valid concerns, and I'm not, I don't have the ability to simply change things here. My recommendation is this, that if you feel that the mitigation schedule that has been submitted to you needs changes, that you send them the vote and send a letter to the interim town manager saying just that, and that a subcommittee of your committee and of the tree committee sit down to come up with the new mitigation schedule so that you can look at it in the future. I'm not saying this schedule is perfect. I know it is based on other mitigation schedules around the state, but I'm not able to simply make changes at this meeting right now. I think a subcommittee should be set up if you don't like it, the full mitigation schedule the way it is right now.
No, I mean, so I'll just. So I agree, we need, our zoning, when we did the zoning, whether I like it or not, or whether other people like it or not, that mitigation got added in there, right? And I agree, we shouldn't just willy-nilly just say, hey, we want 10 grand or we want 50, we should have a schedule, so. I mean, this would go before the council, correct? And they'd debate it and they would.
Correct. Yes, it'd have to go before the council. We, by the way, we also submitted a revised shade tree ordinance, which has been around for, I don't know how many years.
And the way that it's written is, see, the reason I don't like it is because I think it puts a lot of pressure on the planning board to go count trees and figure out what's significant, not significant, and I just think it just adds another hurdle. But then I was thinking about how do we, Shane mentioned before, do we do a clear cut ordinance? So I mean, there's so many different options, but I've kind of come back to, we have that language in the zoning and we have no formula or method to do anything if we want to. And what you're saying is the way it's written and the way I read it again is the planning board does have flexibility to not utilize it if we want to.
You have flexibility in obviously a number of different areas. The thing in terms of, you're talking about the planning board having to count trees and so forth. The new interim town manager has been very good in terms of supporting us, and we will be getting a on-call tree warden. And that person may be able to do just what you're asking, that it's not the planning board per se. We also have, we now have an arborist on the tree committee. So there are at least two people that would be qualified to go out and measure trees if necessary. And I say that because I believe I mentioned before that the old shade tree ordinance does talk about, that's chapter 290, does talk about measuring trees for violation of the tree ordinance, that you have to go out and measure diameter. So it's already there that trees can be, would have to be measured. Again, I'm just saying.
I mean, I think we need something, so, because it's in the zoning and how we ask for I'm very uncomfortable asking for mitigation when we don't have a formula or treat everybody the same so so Shane, so Ray, what are you looking for from the board? Well, what do
I
you?
think in terms of moving this along, my feeling is you should either vote to approve this ordinance and then tell the town manager that you did approve it, or deny it and recommend that you feel that there needs to be some changes. Now, if you do that, all I'm saying, I think the proper way to do it would be for you to set up a subcommittee and work with the tree committee subcommittee to come up with an ordinance that you feel comfortable with.
What is it, after reading it and going through it, what does the rest of the board think at this point?
I'd be in favor of the subcommittee. I'm a huge fan of the idea in general. But I think, that there's things that could be workshopped. For example, Ray was just talking about how we now have the arborist and the tree warden on call. So if we did have to like go out and measure trees or have to have somebody go out and measure trees, for example, would we include a fee like the engineering fee for that? Would there be like an arbory fee to determine the mitigation? Because obviously that's a paid employee at that point doing work for the town. So, I think there's a few.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
It seems
Michael,
like something that would exist.
so Michael, do you like the ordinance as written, or do you not like it and you want to? The purpose, I guess the purpose of, and I don't want to waste everybody's time, the purpose of the subcommittee would be, we don't like what we see, but we want to work on something else. I guess my thing is I don't know what that something else would be. I've thought about it. I've looked at other towns and like it's difficult. So I don't know if we, I don't know if we do what you're saying, Michael, or do we say, hey, let's approve it and send it to council and let it be debated in public, because that's what'll happen, right?
Yeah, and I'm just saying that if you simply say you don't like it and send it back, then the tree committee has no idea what to do.
Right. And
So
I don't.
that's the only reason I'm recommending a subcommittee, because if you don't like it, then you have to give us some input as to what you want. I understand.
And I guess, Michael, I don't know what I don't like about it other than it might be a giant pain in the neck, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love the concept. I think it's a solid baseline. I think getting members of the both boards together to just kind of fine tune it a little bit before we do send it to council just could be a benefit.
But instead of delaying, well, all right, so do you have anything else to add? Then we'll go to other councils.
No, sir. That's it.
Mr. Geller, Ms. Pagone, Mr. Costa, comments?
I did have a comment, Mr. Chairman. I have to agree with my colleague. I think that because now we have an arborist and we have a tree warden, I think as part of this ordinance, we should also consider that if they are going to be going out and taking a look at the trees and reviewing what's going to be needed for a development, there should be a fee attached to that, because it is going to be similar to the work that would be done by the town engineer to review any project that is before us to review or to not accept or deny. I think that would probably be one of the best components to be added into the ordinance, simply because now we have those resources available. We want to be able to compensate for that time used and for that time realized in making sure if a project is before us, they have the right type of trees, the trees are in the right measurements and the right dimensions.
So I don't want to, I think the town of Bridgewater's fees are pretty high to begin with. I don't know if we charge a design review fee and a fee per square foot of building. Shane, is that something that you think we could incorporate into that fee? I mean, it is part of the design review. I mean, I don't want to charge another fee to a client or to an applicant if we don't need to. But I'd like to achieve what MJ and Michael are trying to do.
I guess it's a question of, if we adopt it, does it become? I think if it's something that we look to adopt, it should be something that is within this board's purview, I guess. I guess the difficulty is that, if there's some sort of adoption and we're concerned about the amounts, it's held within code or zoning code. I don't think zoning, it would be a town code, so those numbers would be.
Well, let me go back. So Ms. Pagone, the point of the whole thing is, right, is to end up potentially charging a landowner a fee, right? So if they go out and they determine that the trees are significant, then they'd be paying a fee to pay a fee. You know what I mean? Like and I don't know if that's really the direction we want to go in.
Well, I mean, if we're going to be having someone go out there and review this stuff, whether it's the arborist or the tree warden, I suspect that they should be compensated for their service being rendered outside of their normal purview, outside of what their normal responsibility would be on a day-to-day basis, or when they meet for the tree committee. I suspect that regardless of the project, I totally appreciate the concern that we would be charging another fee on top of another fee. If a proponent is bringing a project before us and they are, they really want to get the project done in town and they want to do it right and they want to go by all the rules, that is just simply the cost of doing business. And regardless of if the fees are perceived as high in the municipality, I think it still begs the question of, are we going to be properly compensating those two individuals for having conducted that work on the town's behalf, on the town's time, and making sure that the project is consistent with a new ordinance that we now will, we would have on the books. It's whether it gets lumped into a design review fee for the design review bylaw, or however we want to effectuate it in perhaps maybe with the bonds, when a subdivision or a project is done, when they have the bond done, maybe if at the end of the project we find the trees aren't up to snuff, we take it out of the remainder of the bond. It could be dependent on that at that point, but then again, that becomes a contingency upon a reasonable completion of a project. I'd rather have this done before you get to that point, and we want to be able to effectuate a project being consistent with what our regulations and rules are going to be. With a new tree ordinance, that is the same type of situation, unless I'm incorrect, in which case we would lump it into the design review aspect of it.
Yeah, so I think that, so Shane, correct me if I'm wrong, but every year or so, our board looks at our fees and our design review fees and things. There's fees that are set in zoning, and then there's fees that are set through the planning board, correct?
That's correct. Well, we primarily control a lot of I would say mostly, if not all our fees.
So if this got passed, MJ, Ms. Pagan, and we thought there was this extra labor that was we could adjust our fees, Shane, right?
Well, I guess technically speaking, you could appropriate money for any project for an impact fee review for, this. I think the nitty gritty here is that.
But what I'm trying to say, we can deal with the fee later.
Sure.
If I could just give you some point of.
But Ray, let me just, if Ray's ordinance passes, and now it's another thing that the planning board has to handle. Because we don't know if it's going to pass. We don't know, we don't know if it gets modified. If Ray's ordinance passes and it becomes part of our duty to incorporate that into the design review on our end, we have the ability with a public hearing to just amend our fee schedule. And we could add a fee either specifically for that, or we could add a fee, or we could change the fee that we have, or we could leave it exactly the way it is. I think talking about a fee to review something that doesn't even exist yet, we should just see if it even passes, see where we end up. And if it's something that comes back as a responsibility to the planning board, and we feel we need additional outside review or something for that, we can set a fee at that point.
Well, I wouldn't even say set a fee. I would just say we send it out for peer review and go from there.
If I may, I would agree with that reasoning. If assuming we do get a on-call tree warden, I know the interim town manager is still looking for one. That person would be paid for his or her services. If by chance the arborist on the tree committee would be needed to do the measurements, he would not be compensated. We're obviously a non-compensated committee, so I'm just letting you know that the fee, the idea of a fee.
I agree with Ms. Pagan. I think that, I mean, I don't want to be out there counting trees and measuring trees and debating what tree is significant or not. I think we want an expert to go out there and say, hey, this is all crap and it can be, wiped out, or there's a couple of significant trees here that need to be, replanted on site or compensated for. And that can be incorporated into the design fee. I just think talking about it at this point is very, we can handle it later. if it passes.
Ray, would you mind finishing your thought on your thoughts on the idea of a fee in general?
No, I said what I wanted to. I just, no, the idea of a fee did not enter my mind originally. I mean, that's not in our proposed schedule. And I don't know whether towns do add fees on that. I have no idea. You guys brought it up. I have no idea. I can't comment on that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I expect, as the chair said, I mean, that certain things you do charge fees, and it's up to you to decide whether you want to do it or not.
So in order for this to get to the council, you need a recommendation from us, correct?
My understanding is, yes, the interim town manager has recommended that you look at it, the planning board look at it. So I think what you vote tonight, whether it's up or down, you should send a letter to the town manager saying that you either agree or disagree with this. And my recommendation to you is, if you agree in principle, but you want some changes, that a subcommittee should be set up, because each committee itself can't do it. You should have.
You know, and my whole thing is I guess I don't know what change it, you know, if I voted against it tonight, I wouldn't know what changes I want, right? I mean, the way I'm leaning is, at first I was totally against it. Then I'm like, this is gonna be a giant pain in the neck. We're gonna be counting trees. Then you explained it a little more. And then I talked to Shane about a clear cut ordinance and how we handle that. I mean, maybe it's best to recommend it, let it go to the council level, let it get debated at the council level. They're gonna have a public hearing on it. We'll hear from the public on it. And then changes might come out of that whole process. So that's kind of where I am with it, but because what you guys spent all this time on an ordinance that kind of fixes an issue in zoning, which talks about mitigation. And then it comes to us, and I guess you're asking what our thoughts are on it. And you had a committee already, you had a committee with intelligent people on it, and you drafted an ordinance. I mean, I almost think that maybe we vote for it and let it go be debated at the council level, and let the council talk about it and have a public hearing on it. Because that's what'll happen, right?
I like the use of your word, saying intelligent committee.
I don't know what.
I mean, I am totally fine with that option too.
I'm open to ideas. This has been before us for 6 meetings, and I still don't know what to change. I look at one town and my head's spinning. I look at another, and I put the book down, and you know, I think we either need to get rid of mitigation and zoning, or we need to have an ordinance to deal with the mitigation. So let's debate it, in public.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure, Mr. Brown.
I'm of the opinion that because this is a process that does deal with this type of issue, and it's different for all towns and cities. I believe what we have right now is a sufficient proposal that, given the deliberative process legislatively, I think it would be prudent for us to put it before the council so that they can debate it out, and based upon what they find and they decide on, at least it can be based on the community feedback. And I believe what that will do is it will allow our municipality to have a unique tree ordinance that is specific for our needs as our community versus what other towns and cities are. I think the reason why they're all so different is because they have different needs specific to what types of trees they want in their community, what specific types of trees are going to be on certain projects, and where they're going to have them located in town based upon probably their tree population that they have in that area. So for us, putting it to that vote, putting it to the council, they can at least get the input not only from folks who are on the tree committee right now, but also that arborist, the tree warden when they come on, if that's in the near term. But I think it's best that we put what we have right now to them so they can have that fulsome discussion, so that when it is approved, at least the ordinance will be tailored to what the town of Bridgewater needs for its environmental factors relating to trees and plant life that we will be looking at in this ordinance.
Well, I mean, you make a good point too. So if it is in fact an ordinance, it's gonna get referred back to us with the CED committee for a public hearing where we'll have public input, and then we can make recommendations back. So Shane, would this be an ordinance? It'd have to be.
I don't think it would be a zoning ordinance. That would be the only one that'd be referred back to us, but it would be some sort of
It would be in the
probably
town. Code, it'd be in the
probably
code, I
town
believe.
code.
Code.
But we could still, I would say that we still would have the ability to interject. I would assume that Ray, being the appointment from this board to the tree committee, he would come to every meeting late and then, you know, give us updates on how it's progressing. So I think that that's a fair sort of situation, as we would be able to provide input either through Ray or as individuals through any sort of council process.
Could we simply do a motion to recommend with a request? Because I think we can include anything we want in a recommendation.
Sure.
With a request that if it is amended by council, it comes back before us for another review. It seems like a good middle ground.
Well, if it's amended, or yeah, I mean, yeah, or we can just say we recommend as written, you know.
Yeah, or we can just do that. Yep.
And let the process play out. I mean, they may, you know, Ray, when an order or an ordinance gets before the council, they can refer it to anybody. They could refer it to CED and us. They, you know, we could ask them.
I really don't know what they'll do. I mean, this will go into the town code. It's not a zoning.
Right. I mean, I don't have I don't have any meaningful input, I guess is what I want to say. So I guess I would support it. So
my line of thinking is just since it's gonna affect us and what we do, I think us getting to look at a final version, if the council does change things around, which may or may not happen, would probably be prudent.
Honey Ray wants to give us all this extra work when he leaves.
You know, you could always, if you just don't like something, you just waiver it, that's all.
Well, I guess in the sense of what we're all talking about, for it to come back to us, there could be a zoning ordinance requirement, because our development review standards for larger projects does discuss mitigation as part of it. So an amendment to that could be, please see mitigation schedule.
Right.
So that could be
That could
where
very well be.
So I think there's gonna be a public hearing on this. I think we'll probably see it again. So if somebody wants to make a motion or discuss it more, whatever you guys want to do.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion to recommend to town council.
By Ms. McDonald. By Mr. McDonald. I hope you guys don't think I'm cranky tonight. I just have a lot of I have a lot of cold medicine. Cold medicine and a lot going on. So
and you're still making good points, so knocking it out of the park.
Good. I just say something.
So we have a motion a second for discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Jimmy.
I think I understand the idea of going to the council. This first has to go back to the town manager, and then she has to decide what to do with it.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, that's just I'm just I don't know. I'm just.
Well, we'll recommend it back favorably, I guess, is what we're voting on, right? If it passes.
Mr. Chairman, I can amend my motion if it means that it has to go to the town manager first. Would that be more acceptable?
Yeah. Sure. If you want to amend your motion, go ahead, Ms. McGovern.
All right. I'd like to amend my motion that we favorably recommend this to the town manager, who can then forward it to the town council.
That's a motion by Ms. McGovern. There's a second by Mr. McDonald.
Yep.
Any further discussion on it? I'll take the roll. Mr. Geller.
Yes.
Ms. McGovern.
Yes.
Mr. Costa.
Yes.
Mr. McDonald.
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Good seeing you again.
Good seeing you.
Won't be that often, though, believe me.
See you soon, Ray.
Yeah.
See you next meeting.
Okay. Item 7. So that Form A on Oak Meadow Place, excuse me, Oldfield Drive, the
Oldfield.
A&R withdrew.
That's correct, as well as we received a letter I put in the packet, Oak Meadow Place withdrawing their application for a modification. So they'll just be proceeding as we recommended at that meeting.
And Shane, I did see you sent over those 3 sets of minutes today.
Yes,
So
but I've had them, but I resent them over as a gentle reminder.
All right, so we had them. I'm sorry, I missed them then.
It's okay. It's okay.
I didn't read them, but if other people did and can want to vote on them, we can do that, or we can continue with the next meeting. I missed them. I'm sorry.
I've read the first 2. I did not read the last December one. To be fair, so
I'll take any minutes I can throw on the website that people can
So
hunt
Shane,
down.
do you have deadlines that you have to get these on?
No, I have I always utilize these YouTube videos as our the best way to hear everything for these meetings. But I prefer at least, to get these taken care of as quick as I can. I do have some executive session minutes I have to work through, but any minutes that I can get approved in front of you guys, I would appreciate getting approved.
So I didn't read them. If anybody feels comfortable making a motion on November 20th, December 4th or 18th and have read them and wants to make a motion, then go ahead. If not, we can continue it.
I'll
I'd
make
make
a
the
motion
motion
to
to
approve.
accept them.
Make a motion to accept them. Okay, Ms.
Yep.
McGowan. Mr. McDonald, did you say something or second it?
I haven't read the 18th, so I could not do a motion to accept all of them. I've only did the 4th and the 20th.
I'm sorry. Do you want a second, Mr. McGowan? Or?
Well, I mean, I haven't read the last one, so I couldn't do that.
Are you really going to read them?
He said he read 2, so I believe.
So is there anybody that will second Ms. McGowan's motion for all 3?
Can't. I haven't read the 18th.
Come on, Mr. Geller.
I'm sorry, I'm like you, Pat. I couldn't get to them today.
Mr. Chairman, I can modify my motion for the minutes that have been read by the majority of the membership. I will motion that we accept at least those 2 sets of minutes.
Which are
November 20th, December 4th.
Exactly.
That's a motion by Ms. McGowan. Do we have a second?
I can second that, Mr. Chair.
By Mr. Costa. Any discussion? Ms. McGowan?
Yes.
Mr. Geller?
I haven't read them, so no.
All right, so you're abstaining.
An
Abstain?
abstention is a no.
Just say no.
An abstention is a no.
Okay.
Okay.
I've watched my council meetings. An extension is a no.
That's not supposed to help you.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
I said Mr. Costa, right?
Yes.
Let me yes. Okay. I got everybody? All right.
Yes.
So Shane, do you want to give us an update on 60 to 88 Broad Street? And that probably ties in pretty well to our May 7th meeting, right?
Yeah. So we have updated plans before us for 60 to 88 Broad Street going through the review process. They previously provided plans that we provided feedback for that required variances. Those variances have been withdrawn. So they did provide updated plans that do meet our zoning requirements. We had a pre-application meeting this week. So we're just going through the motions I'm looking through the completed application. We'll send notice to the applicant as part of that process, but I should have those plans before you by hopefully Tuesday of next week. That they could be on for the May 7th planning board meeting.
So Shane, just remind me of the process. So you're in the 10-day review period right now?
We're in the 10-day development review period. We would have to send them a letter So we sent the pre-application letter, which is available with the town clerk's office, as well as I'll include that as part of anything that you guys need and it was sent over to building inspector. So we're in the 10-day development review period.
So after that, they've submitted their full application, right?
Correct.
With the checklist.
Yep, and then within 30 days, we would have to notify you guys of a meeting. So
No, I think so. You're in the 10, so are you in the 10 days right now?
we're in the 10 days right now. I got the completed application, which is primarily the same thing as the pre-application with a few comments.
Yeah.
So we're in that 10-day period right now.
When does that end?
I anticipate that it was the 14th. So it would probably be next Wednesday or Thursday. So
Okay,
just on that timing.
So Wednesday or Thursday, which is what so a week from
23rd.
today, the 23rd.
23rd.
So we don't have 30 days to hold the hearing. We have 30 days to complete it, I believe. So we need to get that done, right? So the 7th will be fine. And if we needed to continue it to the next meeting would be fine.
That's 14 days. So
But
yeah,
it has to be wrapped up. It has to be wrapped up by
I would assume by the second, if you guys continue to another meeting just to discuss it.
And just to get ahead of it though, just so we can meet the timeline and get it done and
I'll get the plans to you ASAP. I did get
I guess my concern is that they get to Mr. Tansey for drainage compliance.
Oh no, we definitely have the drainage calculations, so I can provide those plans over too. I'll provide them in a compiled packet to you guys and to Greg as well. It's just a matter of getting I could even do it I can probably get those up to you guys probably by Thursday, Friday. I just need to.
I know, and I think the biggest thing is just I know Mr. Tansey's busy, and unlike other projects, we don't have the ability to continue if we don't have a report. We need the report because we have 30 days. So
I know, and we need the report as well too in terms of review for completeness of accepting the project.
So that likely will be on the 7th, right?
That is correct. So we will in terms of trends going on to May 7th items, pretty much everything from this meeting. We also may have a new item for the 7th regarding 1010 Elm Street. But one of the questions I guess I had for the board in terms of anticipation of where that meeting should be held, I need to place that in the legal ad. And initially when I did that a couple weeks ago, we had the issue of, and I'll kind of specify why the last meeting was canceled as well too, because I didn't have the opportunity, is that I did place the meeting into the council chambers. I know that many meetings recently have been placed for in-person meetings there. What I wasn't aware of is that State Representative Gallagher was holding a meet and greet, a town hall sort of thing, or office hours at that same time as planning board. So I didn't feel that it was appropriate for us to intervene on that. So just a cancellation of that meeting was appropriate, as well as it would have been fair to the abutters for Mansion Way to relocate the meeting after the applicant sending notice. So there's that, but I just kind of want an idea in terms of how the board wants to kind of operate post the governor's, meeting extension. It pretty much locks us into either having meetings completely remotely or having to figure out some sort of hybrid format in the council chambers that allows for people to attend as well as Zoom meetings. So talked to IT a couple times, but the logistics in there are tough in terms of holding the hybrid meetings. It's possible, but
so to get to the meet, so we want to know, do we want to go in person or Zoom on the 7th?
Zoom personally, especially since it sounds like there would be technical difficulties currently meeting the requirements for the hybrid meeting.
Michael, you vote Zoom. Steve?
I'm in agreement with Mr. McDonald, Mr. Chairman.
Zoom. Mr. Costa? Zoom or in person?
Zoom. I agree. I'll just do Zoom.
Mr. Geller?
I'd really like to get back in person, but
No,
it doesn't
me as
look like
well.
that's gonna happen.
Do you want to?
I would be impressed. So we're 3-2, so we stay Zoom?
I think
was-
it's a topic to revisit later when the technical difficulties are
I would say if we
relieved.
let's aim for May 21st, if that's appropriate. Or if we get at least people a month in advance for a heads up. I understand the in-person sentiment, and I'm not trying to avoid it. Trust me. I did meetings in person prior. It's just it's creating the opportunity where, as we had plentiful discussion today, wanted to making sure that we have the opportunity for people to participate remotely, whether it be from a member context as well as a public context for this. So,
Oh, that's good. So even if we do the hybrid, members will be able to attend remotely too.
yeah, it's a unmitigated
It's a
disaster.
nightmare. Yeah, I do
It's
IT stuff.
it's really bad. I've worked in other places where it functions accordingly. One of the things they did discuss, just to keep it less problematic, is that the town does have a Zoom profile for webinar format. So rather than all our faces on the screen, it would just maintain those who typically talk, and we could let members of the public in as part of that. So I've had those discussions with IT, but currently the format that we would follow is primarily, if you guys watch the finance committee meeting that they held on Monday on YouTube, that would be kind of a similar format. But I did see complaints on the internet about audio on that. So I'll keep you posted. I just wanted to make sure that I just need the information to location of the May 7th meeting. But I'm happy to maintain this continuing discussion with you guys, and so we can meet in person.
All right, so it looks like the vote for the 7th is Zoom, even though Steve and I don't like the vote.
Now, if you really wanted to kind of say to the associate members, then their vote doesn't count, then there's an opportunity.
They're full members tonight. They can't be full members for part, not all of it, right?
I know, I get you. I don't think.
I can't
All
pick
right,
and
so
choose.
yeah, so I'll have that posted, and then I'll put in the legal ad for that project. That should be all good.
All right, so just so everybody's on the same page for Zoom for next meeting, right?
Yes.
Yep. I really just like having like all the
Steve and I are gonna
access
go
to
to the Academy building and do our Zoom from there.
there you go.
All right. Anything else, Shane?
I have nothing new right now. Other than the fact, just kind of an update. We did get it's really not pertinent to this board, but we got information from the state that they're looking to extend open space and recreation plans applicability from 7 years to 10 years. So we do have an open space and recreation plan that's expiring of April in this year, but we would be able to push that out for 3 more years in 2028. So exciting news on my end. I don't have an expiring open space and recreation plan, so we'd be still eligible for grants for the next 3 years regarding open space and recreation stuff.
I apologize. What is an open space and recreation plan?
So for us to be, in order to be eligible for certain grants in Massachusetts, you have to have an active open space and recreation plan. So it's available on our website. It just talks about all the great open space and plans we sort of have. The CPC did a good job recently just discussing the open space plan and kind of summarizing it in a way for eligible activities on their end. But yeah, it's just to look at opportunities in town for us to kind of work on our open space and preserve recreational land in town.
Ah, okay. Excellent.
All right. Is there anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion
So
to adjourn,
moved.
Mr. Chairman?
Ms. McGowan, is there a second?
Second.
Hi, Mr. McDonald, any discussion? Ms. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
the Geller,
Yes.
Mr. Costa.
Yes.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good
Have a
night.
good one.
All right.
Take care, everyone. Thanks.
Good night.